Going to call the Mount Scottney School District School Board meeting for Monday, March 9th, 2026 to order. And we're going to start with introductions this evening as we have a new board member. So Davis, you want to start who you are and
Sure.
where you're from and why you're here?
Welcome to the Mount Scottney School District Board. I am Davis McGraw. My background in education is a largest part of what brings me here. So I have mostly experience in behavior intervention and special education. So I've been a behavior interventionist for HCRS, and I worked in an ABA program down at the New England Center for Children for about 3 years. And then currently I work in simulation-based education and research and health professions education. And I've been here since what, 2022? Early 2022?
I think so.
I'm Megan Reed. I am a member from Windsor. This is my second term now, and I'm here as, thank you, as a mom and a community member that wanted to be involved in here, what is going on, and be part of the solution. You Davis is looking at you.
Well, maybe we'll go around.
We'll
and then
go,
we'll-
yeah.
Okay. My name is Elizabeth Burrows, and I have been on this board since, I think, either 2013 or 2014. Originally, my interest was being pointed at from the floor of the annual meeting in Brownsville, because I had children and because I showed up for a couple of school board meetings. But I've been on this one because I have seen that board, and there's things at this board, and I've been the work that I've done on both this board and the supervisory union board is actually what inspired me to run for the State House in the first place. For full disclosure, I represent M01 in the state legislature, and I hope that you'll find it as inspiring as I have to see things as they progress along. It can be incredibly frustrating because we have monthly meetings, and so it takes a long time to surface an issue and then get through. But I think you'll find it really rewarding and inspiring.
I see we got Bill and Amy online now, so I see Bill put a go on mic, so you can go.
My name's Bill Yates. I'm actually at UVAC right now at swim practice. I've been on this board since its conception, and I was at the West Windsor board for a few years before that. I've been in education. This is year 32 in education, and so I've been an elementary teacher, and yeah, so that's me.
Thanks, Bill. Amy, am I supposed to be running this part? Yeah. Amy, do you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Amy McMillan, and with the exception of 1 year, I have been on the Windsor School District and Mount Scottney School District board since 2008 or something like that. And there have been a lot of changes, governance being a really large one. I first became involved in the school board as a parent. I am a librarian and care deeply about literacy. I also care about all kids having equitable opportunities for learning and just for personal growth.
Thanks, Amy. All right, drum roll.
Hi, I'm Liz Frederick. I think I actually started getting interested in schools and structure of schools and what schools had to offer during the Act 46 meetings, which I attended before my kids were even in school. I have 3 kids, so I have one in ABS, I have one in Windsor Middle School, I have one in Weathersfield who will be entering high school next year. So we're in the schools a lot. And, I first started coming to the board meetings a couple of years ago to advocate for my own child. And the board was really great and really listened to me. And I kept coming to the board meetings. I attended most of them either virtually or I showed up there and watched. And, I was kind of looking for somewhere to put energy into serving the community, and it just felt like a really appropriate place since I'm very plugged into the schools. And yeah, I want to be someone who's not just coming to the school board with problems. So I'm coming to help make change that's possible. And also, I really want to protect our small schools and I work as librarian in town here. So I also talk to people in town all the time who are not involved in the school. So I get a lot of perspectives there that are different than just parent perspectives. So it's been nice. And it's also given me the opportunity to receive differing opinions. A lot of opinions. So I think that will be a skill I'll be able to bring to the board.
All right, welcome. We're happy to have you here. Okay, we are going to begin our reorganization, and I'm going to start us off, and then whoever is elected chairperson will take over. So I will start by taking nominations for.
I nominate David.
Okay. Anyone want to second that?
Second.
All right, Davis, do you accept?
I accept and thank you.
Okay, before we have discussion, are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. We can open discussion if there is any. Any discussion on Davis being the chair again this year?
I'll just throw out, I appreciate your continued confidence in my ability to perform this role. I do the best I can, and I know I lean on all of you for information and perspective throughout the years. So, yeah, thank you. And,
Do a great job. Do a great job. All right. All of those in favor of nominating Davis as the chair.
Electing.
Electing Davis as the chair. Thank you. Since we have some online, I think we have to do online voice vote. So, Bill, do you want to start?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Elizabeth?
Aye.
And Liz?
Aye.
And Megan's going to abstain tonight because she needs to get sworn in still. We think that's the right
What?
person. It's not her fault. Davis?
Aye.
All right. It's unanimous.
right.
Davis,
Thank you.
you're taking over.
Okay.
Need an agenda?
Oh, I got it right here. Yep.
All right.
All right. So next up, and thank you for starting the meeting off, Christine.
You're welcome.
Now we are going to nominate and elect a vice chairperson. So I will take a nomination for vice chair.
The current vice chair is Elizabeth.
I nominate Elizabeth.
All right. We got a second?
Second.
Okay. And discussion? Well, any other nominations? All right, discussion.
Thank you for your confidence. If I am elected, I will do my best to fill in for Davis whenever he's not available.
All right, so we will do a roll call vote starting online. Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Can I vote for myself?
Yeah.
Aye.
And I'm an I as well. All right. Next up, we have clerk of the board, and our most recent clerk of the board was Megan. So I'll take a nomination for clerk of the board.
Can you please read the description of clerk of board?
Race you to it.
You might have it more. I think you have a whole breakout, right?
I don't have the job description of it now. That's take a look. Or Megan can tell us what she does.
It was taking notes at the,
I was gonna say at the retreat, when we don't have a note taker. Or if we ran into an issue.
Or if it was either of you or you.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
recollection
Yeah.
is like backup note taker
Yeah.
for things like the retreat, and yeah, and then kind of third line if you just came into.
I nominate Megan. Can I do that?
Yes.
Second.
All right, any nominations for clerk of the board? All right, hearing none, discussion.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll do a roll call vote. Amy,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
and I am an I as well. So Megan will be the clerk of the board. Next up, we have signer, take a nomination for signer of the manifest.
I'm sorry, but because Liz hasn't been through this process before, I think it would be a good idea to just read to her what each of the things are.
Mhm.
So the signer of the manifest comes in and monthly, Bill, I think it's about monthly, comes in and
Yeah.
looks through the financial check and balance for the accounting department.
Before the checks
Yeah.
are issued. It's a check on the checks.
It's a real fun job.
I found it, I did it for,
Yeah.
for West Windsor, and I found it to be actually pretty interesting.
I did it
Yeah.
when I was on the board, yeah. All right,
So I will take a nomination for signer of the manifest.
Who did it before? Bill?
Bill. He does both the SU and study.
All right.
Well, I was just gonna say, maybe that would be something that it would be easy for Liz to do because she's right in the library, if Bill doesn't want to do it again.
Yeah, she's come to the SU.
Oh, she's, yeah.
So just waiting on a second for Bill.
Second for Bill.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right. Hearing none, discussion on Bill's nomination.
I
And Bill,
don't.
do you?
I don't mind continuing to do it, especially seeing I do it for both Ascutney and the SU board. I have been struggling a little bit with it because when I come through from work, the doors are often locked around 3:30. So I don't know if there's something we can do to either.
It should be open till.
So that's just the issue.
Okay.
So
All right. Hearing no other discussion, we will take a roll call vote on Bill as the signer of the manifest. Amy,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Liz, Bill,
aye.
and I am an I as well. So, Bill, you are the signer of the manifest.
Woohoo!
Oh, there we go. So I will take a nomination for the backup signer of the manifest.
Currently, it's Amy.
Currently, Amy.
Mhm.
Okay.
I nominate Amy.
Second.
All right. And Amy, do you accept this nomination?
Sure, because I know Bill is very just right on it.
Hey, any other discussion? All right, hearing none. I'll start in the room this time. Liz.
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
Amy.
Abstain.
All right, and I am an aye. All right, and we have made it to nomination of representatives to the SU Bargaining Council, and this is to be on the bargaining committee for
Yep.
SU.
For the teachers and the support staff.
Yep.
It's currently Bill. It's been Bill. He's phenomenal at it. He knows what he's doing.
And we only do one rep from
Yep.
this board.
Mhm.
All right, so
For both?
We have a member from each of the local districts. So,
I nominate Bill.
This Amy, I second.
all right. Bill, do you accept this nomination?
Yes.
with excitement.
Well, and
Well,
I'm very appreciative of you being in this role.
Thank
you. I know it's a lot, but you are very skilled at it. And when I have worked with you on related things, that knowledge comes through very clearly. So,
Well, I do look forward to
it's-
the teacher one that's coming up, so.
all right. Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none. Liz?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So Bill continues to be our representative to the SU Bargaining Council. This is where I'm just going to need the name for this one. So designation of our truant officer, and that currently is.
It's our SRO,
Yep.
Paul Favreau.
Mhm.
But it might make sense just to designate our school resource officer.
Sure.
In case
Whoever that happens to be.
Yeah, whoever that happens to be.
Can we designate a role? It doesn't have to be an individual. Great.
I believe so.
Not to be anal, but so to speak, should it be truancy officer and not truant officer?
That does make sense.
Yeah.
but
It does. That's not it. No, that's a good catch.
That's just astute.
Just mark that down.
So designation of truancy officer, and we are going to designate that role as
Yeah.
being attached to another role, it sounds like.
Yes.
All right. So I will take that motion.
So moved.
This Amy, second.
And that, sorry, it's kind of carpet words here. It was a motion to designate the school resource officer as the truancy officer.
Why? Is Paul leaving?
No, but we had another school that had a person's name in a position who's no longer in that position as the officer, so we had to go back to another board meeting and
Was that hard?
No, it wasn't hard. It was just an unexpected situation. So, I don't know Paul's plans. I don't think he's planning to retire, but it wasn't hard. Just, we made that decision in another district, so just sharing that.
Mhm.
That's all.
Paul's not retiring. He has kids. He has to pay college tuition.
Got it.
That's what he'll tell you.
And it
My
makes
preference
sense to make it consistent across the districts in the SU. Have that language and that understanding.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. I think it should be Paul. So.
But I'm not opposed either way. Just sharing what we went through in another district recently.
Okay.
So.
Well, any further discussion? All right, hearing none. Liz, how do you vote?
I will abstain.
Okay. Elizabeth?
No,
Okay, Amy,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that does pass. Right. And next is the designation of official newspapers of record for our board. So right now we have Valley News, Eagle Times, and VT Digger. So I will take a motion to designate the Valley News, the Eagle Times, and VT Digger as our official newspapers of record.
So moved.
So move.
Cool. All right, discussion. I would just ask, does Eagle Times exist anymore?
No. Yeah.
That was, as it left my mouth, I was like, I don't think they exist anymore. So
We're gonna change that.
I'll withdraw that. But before I withdraw the motion, because we are in discussion, are there any other local papers we should throw in there? I know that Vermont Standard, we stopped having them be a paper of record the past few years. I don't think that's been a problem. VT Digger and Valley News covers our area pretty completely, and then VT Digger, I think, fills in any of those gaps.
I think the reason that we dumped the Vermont Standard was that despite there being our newspaper of record, they didn't cover our district.
Yeah, not really. No, I'm just checking. Just making sure we're not missing anything. So I will withdraw that motion.
I move that we designate the Valley News and VT Digger as our two newspapers of record. News outlets of record.
I'll second that.
All right, any discussion? So, same motion, one less defunct newspaper. Cool. All right, I'll take a roll call vote. Amy,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
Elizabeth,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
and I am an aye. So those two will be our papers of record. Designation of representative to the Hartford Area Career and Technical Center. That was Megan.
Yes.
I will throw out there that I know that you probably aren't going to want to do that again before we go there. So I will take nominations to be the representative to the Hartford Area Career and Technical Center. And
So that is, what that means is you commit to attending quarterly meetings at the tech center. We talk about everything from budget, setting tuition rates, student presentations, programming, what that looks like.
So is it a board? Or is it just attending a meeting that has to do, like, what,
You attend a meeting and
what is the, who throws the meeting?
the director of the tech center, Erica,
It's
I believe.
it's the advisory board,
Okay.
and they do vote on the budget.
We do vote on the budget.
How often do these meetings?
Quarterly, I think they're 4 or 5 a year. Yeah, they're at lunchtime. They go from usually 11:30 to 12:30 or 1.
And the truth is that that position will probably fall by the wayside when they come out with all the hacks and the stuff, because they're doing all kinds of,
Career tech stuff.
yeah.
Mhm.
stuff.
You get lunch.
It is
It's
lovely to
lunch.
see the students and that, like,
Mhm.
it really is amazing to, well, it's just
Yeah.
time constraints. I don't feel like I should be the one that.
Like, quarterly normal is
And it's at lunch.
Yes, it's at lunchtime. Yeah.
I know.
Thanks.
It won't last forever. Not that it's bad. I mean, it's not bad. I'm just saying.
It's a good role to start with.
Yeah.
On the board, for sure. Yeah.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Liz, do you accept the nomination to be the representative to the Hartford Area Career and Technical Center?
Sure.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Just if you have to miss a meeting, it's okay.
Yeah.
It really is. So don't stress.
And it is a really cool program. So I appreciate you doing it, and also make it cool, you'll see in your, have you been to the tech center before, or have you? Oh, awesome. There you go. All right. So if there's no more discussion, we will do a roll call vote. Starting with Amy. How do you vote?
I vote aye, and I also want to tell Liz that the highlight of being on that board is the portfolio day when the seniors show their portfolio. It's amazing. And awards banquet night. You'll be blown away.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Bill?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Hi.
Liz?
Bye.
And I'm an I as well. So Liz, you are the representative to the Hartford Area Career Technical Center. All right. Okay, we have made it to the establishment of a regular time, place, and date of monthly meeting. I believe that last year we did, it was first Monday of the month, 6:30, and we alternated between room 210,
Yep.
the Windsor School, and the library at Alfred School. So I will take a motion to hold our regular meetings on the first Monday of the month, starting at 6:30 p.m. and alternating between room 210 at the Windsor School and the library at Alfred School.
So moved.
All right. Any discussion? My only bit of discussion, and I just want to throw this out there, is we did move the SU meeting back to 6 o'clock. I don't know if anybody has any kind of thoughts or opinions about it. I don't have a ton of preference. I don't mind getting out a little bit earlier when it does start earlier, but I know it's also sometimes nice to have that breathing room between work and other meeting things. So I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm not advocating necessarily. I'm just noting that it may be an option.
I find 6 a little more relaxing because when it does run late, my brain is gone at 8:30. But that's just me.
Okay.
I can't make a 6 o'clock meeting.
Mhm.
That's why I mean, I can make a 6 o'clock meeting online, but that's why I'm rarely able to get to the SU meetings. So I just can't. Can't do it. And Mondays are my jam meeting days. So.
Totally cool. Any further discussion? All right, so I will take a roll call vote, starting with Amy. How do you vote?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Liz?
Hi.
And I am an I as well. So we're sticking to the same thing here. Totally cool. Let's see. We have made it to nomination of the district treasurer, and was that Nancy?
Nancy.
That was Nancy. Okay, so that one is wide open. So I will take.
Wait, can you please read
So
that?
the district treasurer has to go to the bank and get their name on some documentation that allows them to sign things and be a check. So you'd have to go to the bank for this one and get your name on it
Okay,
as the district treasurer.
I want to add something here, and that is that I got a note from M&T Bank today saying that they're closing their Windsor branch on June 11th.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Closing on
That makes sense.
June 11th.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we are Mascoma, but I'm gonna double check with Larry. Did you get that
The
personally?
Windsor High School is on the
Is
M&T
it on
activity
M&T?
account because we got some messages as well.
Anyway, yeah, either way, we still need to sign it.
Yep, yeah, that's treasurer.
The treasurer.
I will take nomination to be the district treasurer.
Where is the other branch then?
M&T?
Yeah.
I don't
Quick
know,
research here.
actually.
White River,
There's one in Springfield.
I think Woodstock has one as well. And Ludlow.
Well, if there's one in White River, it would be easy for me to do it, unless.
I nominate Bill.
There you go, Bill.
Your second? All right. Any discussion? Bill, you accept this nomination?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Bill.
With enthusiasm.
With great enthusiasm. Well, much appreciated. Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Liz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So Bill is our treasurer. Thank you very much for that. I am going to let's see. Second, yes. So I'm going to move that we table the nomination of the district clerk. And
So moved.
Yep.
But would you mind reading what the district clerk does anyway?
yes, and we're in discussion now too. So tell you why I did that.
The district clerk runs the school district election, has to coordinate with the town clerks. If it's not a town clerk running the election, has to meet with the what's the name of the machine?
Oh, the tabulator.
The tabulator.
Yeah, the tabulator test.
To meet with the tabulator, a representative from the tabulator company to learn how to use the tabulator. You have to go to the election hall and move the ballot box on the day of the election and put the tabulator on it. You have to coordinate to make sure you have additional people at the election hall to help oversee and count if need be. You have to work with the West Windsor district clerk on coordination of the ballot transfer from West Windsor to Windsor, and then you have to feed those ballots into the tabulator one at a time once they arrive. You have to sign off. You have to send the results to a couple of different places, and
You are also the person who verifies signature modifications and then submits those.
that's about all the roles.
That's it. Yeah, it's a pretty involved role for about a month and a half, 2 months. And I will say, Jacob Ford, who filled in at kind of short notice when our previous clerk, Aaron Minard, for very legitimate personal reasons, wasn't able to do it anymore. Jake did a fantastic job. This is not a reflection on Jake's performance in that. He picked up and made the whole thing happen, and he was very communicative and professional about it. The reason that I'm tabling this is that I do want to start a new practice of just like when we are designating this, I want to make sure that if it is not already the town clerk, we extend it to specifically the Windsor town clerk, because that's where the election happens. And it really is best practice to have that person be the school clerk. So it's kind of a right of first refusal thing. Logistically, it is far simpler if the person who is already running all those things, we just add a little bit more to it and there's just less back and forth needed. So I am going to, I'll write to Riley and Windsor and just essentially say that, hey, it's best practice. We know Jake did a great job. Jake has talked to me, he's willing to do it again. But I just think that for sort of process sake, that's something I want to do annually if that is not already the person who's doing it.
All right.
So it's on my task list there. Okay. Yep. So if there's no further discussion on that, I will take a vote. Liz?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well, so that is tabled, and we can revisit that in our next meeting. Because again, that role doesn't really do anything until like December, so we get time.
You want it on next month's agenda?
Let's put on, yeah, because I mean, I'll have an answer to this by probably next week. And fortunately, we are in a position where our previous clerk is down to do it again, and now with no learning curve. That's good. All right, and last but not least for organization, we have the approval of Robert's rules for small boards as the way that we conduct these meetings. And I could probably go into some more detail, but Robert's rules for small boards is what we're doing right now.
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion?
So it's a different, are you familiar with?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually have the resource, Elizabeth, that you gave to me when I was becoming chair. So if you ever wanted to borrow that or look at it, it's worth like checking out at one point, but really like if you're familiar with this, it's all right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will take a roll call vote, starting with Liz.
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So we will continue using Robert's rules for small boards.
Did it.
We did it. We reorganized. Okay, so we are now on to item 2, which is any changes or additions to the agenda. Does anyone have those? Okay. Now we will move on to the approval of minutes for February 2nd, 2026. So I will take a motion to approve the minutes from February 2nd, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All right. I was gonna say, that one's got to come from online. Any discussion?
I will say that I thought these were actually very important minutes. I kind of wish Stephanie and see here to see how good they were. She's a stickler, or she was. Is not a stickler about minutes anymore.
If I see her, I'll let her know though. I'll let her, because these are very, very concise and
Nancy, I
detailed.
wish you could have seen the minutes from.
Yeah, only you could have seen those minutes. All right, I will take a roll call vote, and I'll just make the note too in discussion typically, and if you can vote but weren't at the meeting, typically most people abstain. I don't think you have to, but people do. Yeah. So I'll do a roll call vote, starting with Liz.
Well, I was like the meeting as a spectator, but I'll still abstain.
Cool.
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Bill,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. All right, and we are moving on to which tab is that? Something important. There we go. We are on to public comment on non-agenda items / announcements. And I got my spiel here. Public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and that the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. Please start by identifying yourself and what town you reside in, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. So any public comment? Let me just see if we have any public on a meeting. And I'm not hearing any. Any comment from members of the board or announcements? I just want to congratulate our girls varsity basketball team. I know it was a tough loss from what I heard. I was super bummed out. I wasn't able to catch any basketball games this year, and I do love basketball, both of our teams and basketball in general. But really incredible season. Congratulations to all of them and to Coach Cabray. And next year's another year. Any other announcements? I will throw out just a WIC thing that is coming up. Because, we didn't designate a WIC representative.
No, we did not.
Off the list. Well, huh.
It wasn't on the list, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't. Now that I've talked about WIC stuff, that's what I've been doing.
It's not WIC anymore, is it?
It is. I don't know what that was all about. It's still WIC. Whatever that attempted rebrand was, didn't take. So, yeah, that was like. So while we're figuring that out, and I think we can. I don't think it's a problem if we tag that onto the end. I know we didn't add it, but. There is a chili cook-off event at the Windsor Fairgrounds on Friday, March 20th at 6 p.m. From roughly 6 till 8. It's going to be super fun. So if you want to eat some chili and hang out with people in the community,
What's the date again?
come on by. It is March 20th, Friday, March 20th, from 6 until around 8 p.m.
Are we doing this? Is this?
No. We're going to start talking about our food making commitments after this meeting.
Where is this?
It's the Windsor Fairgrounds.
And who's putting it on?
It's WIC. WIC is sponsoring it.
Oh, WIC.
Just a fun community event. WIC has been kind of ramping up doing more of that stuff, partially just because it's good for the community. And we've had a couple of really, really well attended positive events lately. Actually, I'll say the string quartet at Old South Church, that was a WIC one. And I know Mike Welker, who's a very active member of that board, the downtown committee, did a lot of work to put that together. Really, really cool event. I'm hoping we can get back the Skylark Quartet again. But partially because it's good, and also just in the lead up to the 250th United States anniversary, and then Vermont 250 is next year. So with those things going on, they're really kind of upping the ante and doing more public facing events. Yeah. So this is the next one.
Excellent.
Check it out if you can. I will be out of town, unfortunately, but enjoy some chili in my absence. I love chili too. It's a real drag. All right. Any other announcements? Okay. Hearing none. We have made it to the administrative report. Item 5.
Share since I got it.
And then over to you.
Is that, you're going to go first with the,
It's in ours. It's embedded in ours.
it's embedded.
But so I
in
can
yours.
link
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. Just make this
There's
slideshow.
2 in this slideshow. So. All right, thank you all. So we're going to present our administrative updates for you all for March. And before we start, I know we all have a deep gratitude for our communities showing up and voting. There's no easy answer right now, but they continue to show up for us. So incredible gratitude for that work and acknowledgement of the hard work that goes into trying to make reasonable decisions for education of our children. All right, so first up is Tracy.
Hi, everyone. I know we're going to go over behavior data and academic data later, so I just wanted to kind of highlight a few things for you that are not connected to those. I know you're talking about the library at the high school, so I wanted to share a little information about the library and the STEAM program at the elementary school. Tara Custer has been a rare treasure and find for our school. One of her goals this year was to increase book circulation. And she's using Lookbook, which is a new program. And she has originally, her goal was to increase it by 15%. Earlier in the year, when she started to measure her data, she had 191 student checkouts. And at her last report, she had well over 500. So she's very excited about the amount of books that are coming in and out of the library. and just increasing that circulation. She also was featured, and I'll send you this link later on, in Publishers Weekly. She was interviewed about how she selects read alouds and how she incorporates them into the STEAM lessons. And it's a nice little interview. I think if you go down just a little bit further, it's a nice interview. She and 3 other school librarians about how they select read alouds. And there she is. Oops, that's not her. Anyway, it's there, and you can hear, it's just nice, some nice publicity for the school and for her and all that she's doing. She's working really hard to kind of grow our library and STEAM program. So it's just a nice addition for our elementary students. And then we wrapped up our winter enrichment programs last week. I just couldn't be more excited about the opportunities the kids had this year. Some numbers for you: 18 students participated in the K2 theater, 9 in the 3-5. They all presented programs to us the Friday before vacation. The students, we had 26 students go swimming, 40 students go skiing, and then the remaining students stayed at school and rotated through 5 stations that included bowling, pottery, outdoor activities, skating, crafting, and banner making. And we took all the students up to the Hartford rink. Many of them were first-time skaters, terrified the first time, and they want to add more in next year. So we're collecting some feedback from the students and the teachers, and just an amazing program this year. And big shout out to all the teachers and everybody who helped to coordinate. And I feel like we're in a system. This program just keeps getting better and better. And truly, I've worked in programs before, and we call it enrichment. This is truly an enriching program, amazing for our kids. And then I've been working with a team of, maybe 10 to 12 teachers to offer our family engagement night. This one is a K-8 opportunity happening March 19th from 4:30 to 6:30. We're doing an Under the Big Top theme. There's somewhere between 15 and 19 stations that will be set up around the school. Dinner at 4:30. Each teacher will run some type of station. Students will win tickets. And in the end, there's some prizes that they'll win. Whoever's name is drawn from the ticket from there. So hoping for a big turnout and a lot of planning going into it. But it looks like we'll start our advertising soon. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The leadership team's helping a little bit, getting some high school volunteers to help us. The Precision Museum will be there. And we're looping BTG in. They need to do some outreach as well. So they're going to help us with that event as well. And then Destiny Lawyer is applying for the Cliff Grant this year. It's a K-5 Year of the Book initiative, and we should know by April 1st whether or not we are awarded that grant. If we are, it will drive a lot of our family engagement opportunities that will all center around literacy for next year. So fingers crossed that we get that.
So Albert Bridge, I want to start, this is the hardest part. It's always so hard. Matt Birmingham passed away in January, and I wasn't present for February, so I need to share this. Just bear with me. All right. Okay. So I've had the privilege of serving as our principal here for the last 13 years. And by virtue of this role, as also part of the West Windsor's local community library, the Mary Blood Library, it's a trustee for the past 6 years, which Matt Birmingham invited me onto. I'd like to take a moment to hold space for a man whose legacy to our community is defined by quiet grace, steadfast service, and profound empathy. Matt was a leader amongst us all as a contributor to our young learners, athletes, and as a trustee of the library, as well as throughout our community. He modeled for all of us what it is to be a pillar of civil leadership, as a quiet companion for the vulnerable, a fierce advocate for our youth, and a deeply caring friend who could hold space even during a person's darkest days. He was a steady companion for so many, whether on a brief trail or long journey. It's clear that everyone who had the privilege of walking alongside him is better for it. He served for many years as the lead coach for our soccer team, the last one being in 2019. We have some of his pictures up here, and we're working on a presentation for his celebration in May, at the end of May. I think it's May 31st. But just wanted to reach out and say we are a better community because of Matt Birmingham, the example he led, and the gifts he shared with all of us. Included in some of these pictures are teachers who are now here at Alphabet School, which is a remarkable.
Who were soccer players.
Who were soccer players in their elementary school here. So we'll work hard to do a presentation, but incredibly grateful for everything he shared with us. Sorry about that. All right, we also have the end of our winter sports. We are incredibly blessed, I think, in our communities to be able to have this beautiful mountain right here. And because of the gift of us getting the outdoors, without cost to our community, our students, whether in Windsor or West Windsor, learn how to ski. They have the opportunity to do this. And that's just, I think about if you're going to live in a place that it snows, love the outdoors in the snow and be able to do something. As somebody who didn't grow up here, like, I can snowshoe. That's about it. I'm afraid to go on the ice with my boots. But just that opportunity is a wonderful experience for our children, and to have been able to expand that with pretty consistent opportunities for ice skating here through our SKIP organization. It's just a gift that I think our kids one day will turn around and say, that was an amazing opportunity for us. So thank you for that from here, as well as for our community being able to do that. We're beginning our maple unit and our gardening unit. Gardening starts indoors now. And our maple unit, we're just starting to collect sap. Today we had buckets filled. So if you ever stop by during the day, on Tuesday and Thursday, you'll probably see our evaporator out back trying to get some maple syrup. We're in the middle of our Red Clover books, which I know our schools do, which is picture books across the state of Vermont. Just a wonderful opportunity to challenge ideas and bring new thinking. And at the end, those of you who don't know, students get to vote on their favorite book. And then that becomes the winner of the Red Clover books across the state of Vermont. It's really, really cool. Wellness across our school, we did based on energy from the Heartland principal that he brought the Olympics. We were able to do an Olympic 2-week session, which was fantastically fun. We had opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, and 2 weeks of just fun activities aligned with Olympic sports. So we'll share some videos that we're still trying to compile and put together with our community, hopefully by our next meeting, that you all can see, but lots of fun. And we just participated in the American Heart Association process, where they teach all of our kids 3 through 6 how to do compression only CPR, which can be a lifesaver. And so it's pretty impressive what the American Heart Association is doing across networks and across the state of Vermont in order to bring this work to us, to teach all children how to do what they can do to help save a life, because we know that those first minutes help. They make a difference. So you'll see some of our students actually using, we have been gifted 20 of these.
Hands.
Yeah, exactly. So each of those students are practicing that, and we talk about with our younger kids, even when you're too small to do compressions, you can call 911. Teach them how to do that. So really important. We heard today that 70% of all cardiac issues happen at home. So these children might be, as someday, being able to help support the lives of the people they love the most. So with gratitude, they were able to come and join us. Our pre-K visits are starting soon in Albert Bridge School. They come for afternoons for a period of time. We're really looking forward to our new cohort of students and our new families that are going to be joining us. Testing starts next week. Yay. I should have said that way. There's a good value in testing. Our Vermont BT Cats Vermont Collaborative our state testing as well as the NAEP testing, which is a national testing, will be starting next week. Other schools have already done some of that. Our intra-district choice, we're working on a share out that will be shared out pretty soon, in order for families to understand the value that being a part of a district has for opportunities. And we want to share a quick presentation. This is part of our student presentation for flex groupings. I have, I think, Jackie Borelli on the line to share the first part, and then I'll take the second part. Jackie, you with us?
Yeah, I am here. Wonderful. So, I'm Jackie Griffiths. I am the kindergarten teacher at Albert Bridge. And I know I've been to the past few meetings to share kind of what our plan was. And I'd love to share how our plan has gone with you and invite you to come and observe. So since about January, we've been running a K-1-2 multi-age classroom. And how we went about this was the first grade teacher. She is a 1-2 teacher, our interventionist that works with kindergarten and 1-2, had some time throughout the first beginning of the year to run through the plans of executing this. What we found is that working all together, we're able to look through more data. We have more heads to observe things, to take different notes. And then with our common planning time, we can chat through what's going on and what our next steps are. As far as the students go, we've been able to interview the students as a whole separately as far as the classes go, and kind of get a feel for how it's going with them as well. And what we've heard and what we've also observed and noticed is that older students are able to utilize lots of different skills and language that they may not be able to experience within their own age group. So having second graders work on explaining a little bit further to the kindergartners really has grown their language, which therefore grows their writing as well. And that has been reflected in the students' work, as well as the skills of leadership. So as you can tell in that photo, there's a mixed age group in the background that's working on EPIC, one of our programs to listen to books that the teachers select. And there's instruction given from the teachers, but if assistance is needed, the younger students can, call on an older student to assist them. And that older student also has the ability to say, hey, I'm involved in something right now. And it gives them kind of that skills of boundaries and communication together. And then as far as classroom jobs go, the first and second graders are phenomenal at doing the compost job. And kindergarten has really picked up on that and is incredibly proud to be able to assist with that after lunch. And we still both have our own times in the afternoon to really hone in on what each classroom needs academically or skills-wise. We can bop to the next one that focuses a little bit more on the social emotional benefits. We do start our morning as a whole group. And what we found is that the example as well that the older students set for the younger students is phenomenal. The younger students have some really positive role models, and there are more adults in the room having the K teacher and the 1-2 teacher, and then the interventionist as well to support the social emotional learning, as well as the kind of natural consequences in the setting that a younger student can kind of look around and assess and say, ooh, I I may not want to make that choice in such a large group with some older peers there, and there's able to be that support in that way. So following this is kind of our schedule that we follow. In the mornings, like I said, we're separate in the afternoon, as well as you'll see we do ELA separate on Tuesdays, and Thursdays we have a special during our quiet time. So you are welcome to stop by any of those times when we're together to observe. We have our main academic times would be the ELA, the math talk, and the math. And then the others are more of the social times as well. So you're welcome to email me and let us know if you'd like to join us and come by anytime.
Thank you, Jackie. Just wanted to reach out. I know as some of you have been on the board for a while, have had many good discussions around the idea of how do we support a small community when sometimes our classes feel too small. And our kids all need different things regardless of what grade they show up in. They're all at different levels for different things. What I'm incredibly proud of this team for is really taking on the idea of a no grade situation. They're looking at data, determining where kids would be best suited for learning at what they're working on. And sometimes that's across skills levels, and sometimes it's at their skill level. And so they spend a great deal of time every Friday during our exploratory time, which you guys have gratefully supported. We allow them basically an entire prep period to meet as a team, to co-plan and look at data and figure out what it is they're going to do. And they've done this incredible job of really taking it on this year and making it so it's happening. So huge kudos to that entire team, and incredibly grateful for you all for helping support that. Our 3 through 6 group is a little more complicated in terms of finding that time. It's a larger group. It's a larger span, but I want to share a couple of things that we are working on with them. So we have a couple of ways we look at the math in the 3 through 6. Sometimes they are in their own grade band. So for example, the top, that kind of middle upper, what is that, right picture? That is the full 6th grade class out doing math, but they're doing math in a way that is challenging all of them because they're talking about math as a concept that was developed. And how did some people develop that using other stuff, other resources? We didn't start out with money, right? We started out trading stuff. We started out grouping stuff. And so they're really working on understanding and building conceptual ideas around money, math with nature. Other times, this picture here is some students working in a small group. This is so the top left and that center picture is the same group. So sometimes they're being led by a teacher doing they're working on vocabulary, right, around math, particularly around geometry, because that's an area we don't often get to because of the year and how long it takes to get through modules. So they're working as a group. And so they start with teacher leader and then student leadership. So you can see students starting to teach and work, and they're helping the younger students clarify language at the same time they're clarifying their language and building their writing skills, because if you can speak it better, you can write it better. So this is the way that we're addressing those issues. Bottom left, left corner is grades 3 and 4 together working on math work, and then in that bottom right corner, I should know this, are just students working at a specific level that they need with direct instruction so they can pick up the pace on something that they are doing. I want to share a couple of videos.
Can you tell us about how the math flex groups on Friday work for you?
They're really fun, but they're a little bit easy for me, but I'm learning new stuff. But it's me and Gus are in the same group now, but it's like a little bit easy. It's like learning we all are in the same group, learning fractions, and it's just, yeah.
What else can we add?
What if they don't know? I mean, like, it's, as Maddie said, it's fun, but it's also kind of easy because our class, we already get it, but also it's fun to teach other people, like who's in 3rd grade or 4th grade, how to do it, since they don't know how to do it and we already do.
Okay, great. Ani, and then we'll go back to Nina.
I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm a fast learner, so basically they say it to me, and I've already learned it once I do it a few times. So it's kind of faster than our grade, because in our grade it's like I will learn it the first time I do it, and then there will be people who take like 2 months to do it. So it's a lot faster, and I like it. And then, when it's like Gus said, it's kind of fun to like teach other people and like I think we're in 4th is in our thing, and teach them and then see them do the progress that we taught them.
Okay. That's one. And then I want to share, you also support flex teaching for our upper grades. We have
Can you
some
tell
students
us
who
how working in a math
are
group that's different
significantly
from the regular
advanced.
classroom's math group works for you?
It helps me because
Background noise.
like I'm not as bored because I'm actually doing stuff and I'm learning, and we're also faster, so it's like we get through more stuff because I'm not like waiting for the slower people.
So with the flex grouping, what this allows us, the flex teachers that you guys continue to support, it really allows students to be able to be met at the level that they're working on. And we also know that things like boredom creates behavioral problems. And it also shows the same toxicity as trauma response in your brain over time. So if you're bored over time, your brain starts to show similar gaps and blocks in your brain. So we know we don't want to be doing that kind of work. But because of the supports that we do have and the creativity of our teachers, kids are getting the information and practice where they need it. Like I really appreciate one of them said, it's easy, but I'm also learning. And that's a reminder that it doesn't have to be hard to be learning. And when you feel like it's easy, sometimes then you can translate that quicker and start to own it. So you can then start teaching another student in a way that feels helpful for the other student. And we know that writing is something across the board we're all working on. And writing starts from being able to communicate in some versions. So it's a way of us approaching that challenge, even in math. And the other thing I wanted to share about this is we talk about how it all has to align. Like we're not trying to do so many different things. So we spent some time really trying to think about the key areas that show the most impact. And some of you are familiar with Hades' research. He did this massive original research around 800 across the board. What was the most effective teaching practices that were shown in all these meta-analysis? So he studied meta-analysis and came up with the top component that showed the best progress for student growth was what we call collective efficacy for the adults. This is us as adults saying, I think together we can figure this out. And schools were not designed around this concept. Teachers teach by themselves, they plan by themselves, and then they deliver by themselves, and they assess by themselves, and there's very little time for collaboration. If you think about that K-1-2 group right now, and the work that they're doing, there's 3 highly skilled, very different teachers all learning and working together to help solve problems. So if one has an idea for a student, they get to share it, and then they all get to grow in that area. They get to try it, assess, and then grow. So when we talk about data, 0.40 in the data that Haiti did represents essentially the average learning for 1 year. In collective efficacy, when teachers can work together and feel like collectively as adults, we can figure this out for the kids, it shows that the improvement for student growth is a 1.57, 1.6 in the latest one he did. And that is the best thing, I think, best gift we can give our teachers and give our students, is giving time for teachers to be able to work together to do this. In a small school, I don't know how else we can better support our students than creating this opportunity. So it is being creative. It's breaking down some of the traditional approaches and giving teachers a chance to do that. Also, a couple of the other key things that we know show up: peer evaluation or self-evaluation, excuse me, which is a student's ability to say, like, did I complete this? Can I check off the things I'm supposed to be doing and look back and reflect? Peer discussion, so student to student teaching, and then being able to ask for help and clearly say what you need are all high in the list of things that show up for what helps students grow. So I'm happy to share more about that research later, but we've put together some things that we know are driving our work, and this is across our supervisory unions, not just Olive Bridge, but just where I am. So I want to start, if I can just go here. Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we have the leader in me. There's some leadership habits that we have, our 7 habits of highly effective leaders for children. We have our responsive classroom, and then we have our portrait of graduate, which we developed in 2017, established finally in 2021, if I recall, of the things that we work together with. And so they all synergize. Which is a leader in me thing. They all work together to help support our students becoming more complete versions of themselves. We also look at a couple of other things. So multi-age teaching works integrated with self-determined learning, which is how we help students not do it for some external reward that then gets manipulated by the external reward, but does it because this is what they want to do. And we know kids want to succeed. We know every child wants to do well. And so it's part of our job to figure that out. And so the responsive classroom, collaborative problem all work together. So I'm happy to share these things that we've created with you all. But just know that this is all working towards what we think is the same alignment of philosophy around what these kids need and for what purposes that we're doing this work. All right, that's ours. All right, Colleen, let me get to the next task. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's.
So when you're talking about the multi-age teaching, I know it's set up K through 2 and then K through 6. And you mentioned there were, 6th graders that were advanced students. So I guess I'm wondering, how do you support those students that are at the top age ends?
Mm-hmm.
Like the older 2nd graders?
Yes.
They collaborate with them sometimes. Do they have that opportunity? And 6th graders, if they're beyond 6th grade math, are they able to?
Sure. So starting from the top end is where we find the least amount of flexibility because we don't have a 7th or 8th grade math teacher, which is a specialized place. So what we've done there is we've reached out to Bridget in our SU, and she's given us resources that help guide one of our flex teachers, who right now is also our PE teacher, who's certified in both PE and education, I should say, general education, to do specific. So they're supported in making sure that, so they're working beyond the 6th grade group. They're actually working in a 6th through 8th grade math program called Illustrative Math, and they're getting support through Bridget's ongoing collaboration with them. So that's really the hardest end, because everything else is within the school building. And so part of the challenge is that big divide between 2nd and 3rd, right? Because 3rd through 6th has that kind of already embedded in it. So the challenge there is, how do we work with that? And right now what we're doing is, because we have, for 2 classroom teachers, we have 3 teachers in there and their rotation schedule, there's the ability for teachers to meet those higher flyers who are in 2nd grade. They're not connecting with the 3rd graders at this point. Next year it'll be a combined 3-4, so they will be with the 3rd and 4th graders. But right now, so they're getting some direct instruction where their needs are based on assessments that we're giving. Does that make sense? Yeah, so 2nd grade right now does not regularly meet with our 3rd grade students, or 4th grade, depending on their level. Next year, they'll be in the group of 3 through 6, so that'll be an easier leap to work with peers, but they are still getting instruction at their level from the classroom teachers and the flex interventionist who's in that space. I think Jackie had her hand up.
Yeah, in one way we provide voice and choice as far as the K-1-2 goes for that academic time, and in particular in math, but also in literacy. I have a pretty concrete example that might be helpful. We use the All Learners Network, and they've created these math prompts that have 1 star that's on the easier end, 2 stars, and then 3 stars, and they progressively get more difficult. But the students have voice and choice to pick the one that works for them. And then after completed, the teacher can review it on their own and then review it with the student if needed. And that's where that kind of learning progression happens. So we've done the I do, we do it as a class, and we've practiced it, and now they're independently doing that on their own.
Elizabeth?
In our school district, in either Albert Bridge or Windsor, do we let students, like if you have a student who is way beyond 2nd grade, what happens to them? I wonder, I guess I have 2 questions in that respect. One is whether there is a path for them to keep expanding. And secondly, I just want you to know that I'm in favor of, always have been in favor of mixed age, or rather mixed abilities classes, and having students be identified by their abilities versus their age. But as such, what about the very, very high flyers who are way ahead of 2nd grade? And I know that the state of Vermont doesn't recognize gifted students because it would be inequitable for rural students. But are we providing for that anywhere in our district?
So at this school, what I can talk about is when we talk about are they at a certain level, like in what areas we want to talk about. So if they're particularly skilled or gifted at something like mathematical thinking, we look at areas that they can grow in. And I know in the school we have students who have regularly scored significantly above a 9th grade level or 10th grade level. We still work hard to meet them where they are, make sure they're not bored and they're growing. And that's a part of why we created these flex groups, to expand their capacity. Reading, same thing. We've got students who are reading significantly above, but most kids are not all above, like as an individual, right? So socially, they might be here, mathematically, they might be here, reading, they might be here. So our goal is really to meet them where they are. When it comes to the idea of how do you function within a classroom environment, right? And a kid is scoring or reading at a very, very different level. That's where we look at the idea of a quick lesson, and then you're working at your level. You get challenged at the level that you need it versus everybody's reading the same book.
Right. Yeah. But I guess that's what I was asking, is whether you are able to accommodate.
I think to an extent. I think to an extent. Yeah.
Because I think if you're not really careful, then everybody's leveling down towards the least common denominator instead of everybody getting their needs met.
I agree. And I think it's when you're talking about, we talk about like the stand and deliver model or sage on the stage model where one person's sitting there talking to all the kids. I don't think that happens. Like that's we know at this point that's not good education. So what we're really doing is a mini lesson that hits the big ideas and then helping kids work at their level. So they should not be sitting there working at the level of somebody who's a slower processor if they're a faster processor, nor should they be expected to move at a faster pace when their brain is processing in so many different ways, in a creative way, probably often, but it's going much slower than this other kid. So finding that balance it's a challenge. I mean,
But it's also, you know, it's part of the advantage of having the flexibility within a group of students. It's just that sometimes there's a true outlier.
Yes. Yes. And I do know one student in our school right now is doing a lot of online independent interest work and is staying on top of everything else, way on top of everything else. That's okay.
Jennifer,
I mean, we can do that.
sorry, I could have raised my hand. I'm happy to pop in with a literacy example. I'm just thinking, Elizabeth, as both of you kind of chat through it, of different differentiation, concrete examples that are kind of helpful to display what you're speaking about. Today was the introduction of letter Z for kindergarten. And during our morning meeting, we asked the students to produce words that contain Z, and some deeper challenge for some of the students is to create a word that doesn't just start with it, which great, that's kindergarten and first grade, you know, appropriate, but that contains it within the middle and then assists in sounding it out and even doing, you know, a sentence containing that, their understanding of it, to differentiate it across those different levels as well. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, Colleen.
Thank you. For the Windsor Middle School update, I just want to echo Jen's comments about students being our leaders, and putting out a cheers to our team leader on our Leader in Me team, which is Destiny Lawyer, who is definitely one of those persons talking about grants and the library, having the books in her classroom. Last year, we just heard she's working on the Cliff grant. She last year worked on a grant where all the books were around the theme of disabilities, and we were able to give the books to the younger kids. Again, that cross age work from middle school to younger grades was really, really fun. The kids really like it. This year, she's looking at a grant with the pollinator gardens, and she's working with Mr. Barth and Mr. Taft to get that pollinator garden going for the spring, and another ELA and more books to our middle school library. We are always welcome to be with Miss Tara in the elementary school. We're always welcome to access anything that is left in our high school area of our former library, but we are working to build up that middle school book collection. And I know Liz knows more about it than I do in Destiny's room, just because she has just a great collection.
And I hear that Mr. Barth is
And Mr. Barth is back, which does play a part in a lot of our information with intervention and tutoring and enrichment for math, particularly. One of the other things that I want to share about the recent student work was that the week before vacation, we had parents invited to come and visit us to see some of the recent projects. We had 6th graders presenting ancient Egypt projects. We had some ELA projects for parents to view, some science projects, geological timelines. And now Mr. Lord's classes in social studies are working on branches of government, dividing the kids up into different groupings. Ms. Lawyer in social studies is working on ancient China. That's what she's working on with the students in the bottom right corner. They're making maps of ancient China, trying to keep it hands-on with DOE projects and topographical maps. With leadership, we have students and our celebrations. One of the nice things about our leadership team, also led with Ms. Lawyer as our lighthouse leader and helps support the rest of the staff to help the students, is that our students helped a lot in our winter carnival right before we went on vacation. In the bottom left corner was one of our advisories. I believe the pink advisory was Miss Lawyer's advisory, and I think they won many of the events, and they were super proud of themselves. And poor Miss Lawyer was sick, and she didn't get to be there, and they were like, ah. So they had a great time, and they helped plan some of that, and they have some things on their agenda for the spring, which includes another Spirit Week leading up to April vacation. They really enjoyed working as a team, doing like school culture and doing door decorating contests where the SU employees came up and kind of assessed how they were doing, and the kids asked for that again. They really liked that these neutral parties and adults were coming to see their work. They also are maybe in the works of a possible talent show. They're a little nervous about it, but I think they're starting to grow that. We also have student leaders who are participating across RSU, not just at Windsor and middle school and high school, but who are participating in the Vermont State House Youth Advocacy Day this Wednesday. And some of our middle schoolers, high schoolers, and from other schools, I don't know how many from the other schools, will be joining some of our staff to go to the State House. And their theme this year for youth is listen to youth voices on issues that matter to them. So we have some students doing that this week, more leadership opportunities. And we also invited some of our students to kind of visit some of our other schools, because sometimes Mr. Romeo at Heartland or Mr. Martez at Weathersfield have tried something different, and our students want to see what that looks like. So we always offer like that as an opportunity if you'd like to go. Right now, I don't want to jump down, but I do want to talk about the same thing between here and Windsor, Albert Bridge, with our shadowing days coming up. The other celebrations we continue to do with the support of our PTO is our Students of the Month and our Advisories of the Month. The goal with the Advisory of the Month was to build on our attendance and school culture, students working with their advisors. We actually just did we always kind of do it a little bit into the next month, last month's Student of the Month. In the top right corner, we have our February Students of the Month. We have Maeve Frederick and Zia Samantala and Jackson Boissonneau as our Student of the Month for February. And we have honored Mr. Barth's advisory for the February Advisory of the Month. So they're excited. They get to choose a homemade lunch or a ice cream social, and they get to have that time with their advisor alone and out of the cafeteria with their group. And they do a really nice job supporting each other. With intervention and tutoring happening, one of that is that really nice news of Mr. Barth being back. We also sadly had to say goodbye to Miss Curtis, who did a lot of ELA intervention the first half of the year and bringing students in and out as they were working on their ELA goals. And now that Mr. Barth is back, he's picking up in that same role in intervention, and he's working on the same thing with the math goals. And at our most recent professional development day, our team was doing our data dive into our STAR scores and making our groupings for students who are in most need. They already have services or plans that they were getting the support for their math and ELA, or do they need more intervention and supports? So that was worked on at our last professional development day. And we also have right now a next round of tutoring. So we have some ELA, but mainly math tutoring available for our students before and after school. And so we are supporting that. And as Jen said, our Vermont State Assessment window starts today. So some of the schools we are starting tomorrow. This is our ELA week. And then our 8th graders have their science days next week, and our 6th through 8th in our elementary school, most of us are doing math the week after that. For our shadowing days, we were happy to, again, another leadership opportunity. Our leadership team was host to our students who came from Albert Bridge 6th grade. They were there last week. I think they had a good experience, a good time from all the people I talked to at lunch. They enjoyed lunch. They liked the classes they went in. I believe they got to choose which classes they wanted to go in. They were either shadowing science or math. I believe they all went to about 2 periods, maybe 1.5 by the time they had to leave and get lunch and everything. But we've planned for them to come once a month between now and the end of the school year, and our leadership students and some students who just want to participate, who might not be on the leadership team, but want to help tell other kids about the school. We'll be doing that for our 5th graders from Windsor. And yeah.
So sorry, is it only students in leadership who get to host the shadow?
No, I'm just saying other kids have asked to do it, and we have like a lot of 6th graders who really like to welcome the 5th graders in. Students who know the students from Albert Bridge who want to do it. So anyone can do it, but they're just kind of formally organized who take on that role. But we have more days to come, so I think we'll have more students each month as they come.
Like this month, it was shadowing for math and science. Do you change classes?
Yep. Yep. We try to give them like a little show of like every part of the schedule in the day. Yeah. Let me see if I had anything else that I wanted to share with you. Just that the 6th grade from Albert Bridge, working with Mr. McPhillips and Miss Stanley, had a good experience. And those were the pictures. And the one picture that I didn't mention in the middle is health class and Ms. Leonard. This picture particularly, students were working on eating disorders and fad diet research. So that's what students were working on there. Thanks for having me.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
What is the student advisory period for?
The student advisory period is like our homeroom. It's our 3rd period, and we do it in the middle of the morning. We're working on our schedule for next year to make it more like a 1st period morning advisory morning meeting. Sometimes we're affected by other scheduling in the day, and so that is mostly around our Leader in Me activities, and also so it's about an hour, and about half of it is for Leader in Me and advisory, and our activities that go along with that our students and Ms. Lawyer and the leadership team works on, and then the other half is students able to do work that they want to get caught up on, see other teachers, have intervention time or services times.
And then they also have a study hall?
Not every student has a study hall. 7th and 8th grade has 1 to 2 periods of like a middle school study skills with another teacher. Our 8th graders have it 1 day a week with one of our high school teachers, prepping like with high school skills and time with that teacher. And our 7th grade has it 2 days a week with our interventionist, Mr. Barth, and was Miss Curtis. So,
well, that's what I was going to ask. So I wondered why the intervention and tutoring is before and after school and not during study hall or
so
advisory.
Intervention is throughout the day. We have it in 3rd period during that advisory time. We also have it at some of the elective times or some of what you're talking about, the couple periods a week that are offered for study skills. There, in the last month, we as students were coming out of their ELA rotations and Ms. Curtis was leaving and Mr. Barth is coming in, we're even looking for places even within their classes. Is it possible for them to have some small group intervention within a class? Sometimes that works, but most of the time it's out of their core classes in the 3rd period advisory or the study skills is where intervention is. The tutoring is before and after school.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is, can you both describe areas where there's been collaboration between Albert Bridge and that middle school
Yes.
besides the shadowing days?
Yeah, so we start the year with the Farm and Wilderness, where our students combine, our teachers combine to create lessons and experiences. We've learned a lot from the last couple of years, and we're getting better at preparing for that. We get invited to dances and events that occur. We also get invited to things like plays that might be occurring at the Windsor School. What else?
We definitely have, when you were talking about math for different grade levels, I know that when I had done one of our PD days with our teachers, when we were working on our PLPs and our student leadership presentations, we worked with the staff from Albert Bridge as our district. So when we get to do our PD days, I would say a lot of the crossover happens when we get to work with the teachers from here, and our middle school teachers get to have conversations about what they see when we get to talk to Miss Cindy. And that kind of supported us when we were working on the PLP work for their student leadership presentations, making sure we're all kind of doing the same thing. With the math and growing, you talked about enrichment. As they get older and they come to the middle school, then they can look to see, would they like to have some more, I don't know, student choice based on their interest. With math, we have students who can self-select if they would like to go to a higher math in 8th grade, and that's still an opportunity for students to grow there, and helping to work with our math teachers and teachers here on these PD days are important.
Do you have collaboration between like when your teachers are planning for their curriculum for the next year, do they coordinate with Windsor Middle School or our middle school so that there's an actual curricular transition between Albert Bridge and Windsor?
I would say it depends on the kind of PD, but our curriculum director, Bridget Ferry, will make sure that we're all on the same page. We might not physically always be together. The example I gave was when we were all really working hard on growing that student-led conferencing and making sure all of our students were doing it the same. But sometimes we do things that are building-based. So I would say curriculum-wise, Bridget does support that we're all on the same page, but we might not always physically be together doing that PD. Does that sound?
Yeah. Some days are across the SU. You can get with your grade like bands, at which point our current 6th grade teacher and our flex math teacher will go in and work with the middle school groups across the SU to all be on the same page around curriculum. And then Bridget is doing a great job of helping to bridge the gap, particularly for kids who are outside of the norm of the curriculum.
I feel like, I don't know if was it a year or two ago when we, at one point when we were doing more leader need, like beginning stages, I feel like Cindy was kind of more in our meetings, like more often, and we haven't had, because we started it and we kind of not on our own, but no, we've had Leader in Me for a little while. We haven't had her at all those meetings, but she's always welcome to join us at our meetings. But there was a time where she was like on a regular schedule to be with our middle school team.
Have you had Windsor students over here to Albert Bridge?
We have not had Windsor students over here. And we've talked about ways to do that. We haven't found a meaningful, helpful way to make it happen.
I think we'd love to like do it in a way that like really highlights the outdoor learning, so that we could do something that the kids do here, like that math lesson outdoors in nature. It would be like a really nice connection for our kids to see something different.
Yeah, I think a part of what the challenge is around the whole thing is, to be frank, it's transportation. Here, I can get in the van, somebody else can get in the car, and we can take all our kids there at no cost to anybody. You take a bus though from Windsor to here, you're talking to $300 for that chunk of time. So it's harder to get to justify asking, right, that kind of money to get kids over to this side versus get kids that way. And I think that's a consistent feeling of it's easier for us to go than it is to bring people here.
It's really nice that we have the vans that we could make that happen.
Yeah, I just wish there was more.
Yeah.
It sounds like there are opportunities that can't be accessed. And I think it's a shame because that was like Albert Bridge is not Windsor's like little sibling. They're just two separate schools, but we're in the same district, and they there was kind of more
Collaboration.
well, not just collaboration, but
More opportunities
flow.
to be together.
Flow.
Yeah, we talked about things like sharing, like the ski event, for example, during winter service. We talked about that with AL, like what does that look like? And it felt like it was too many kids. Because that's an opportunity to say, like, here's the mountain that we go to all the time, and let our older kids like kind of introduce and work with other students. But it just felt overwhelming for them because, right, we're just that extra bit. So we've tried to think about other ways, but we haven't come up with what seems most helpful and cost effective. I think is really a big one for us. Like I have a hard time asking for money to bring kids over, where it's so much easier for us to go that way. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, but maybe. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to take us off track.
I think it's important, and I think we've got to keep trying to figure out what will work.
I think it's really important for these two towns to get closer together. Yeah, we're getting further apart. Yeah.
Liz.
Skip.
So I just want to say two quick things. One, I'm glad that there's the shadow days. I know my own child had kind of a rough transition into seventh grade, just because she hadn't been there much. So like I'm glad that's happening. Also, I wanted to mention that I went to the student presentation day, and I thought it was really, really good. And I just want to put out there for anyone who wasn't there. It was just really well organized. The projects are really cool because they're really exciting. So.
And all of our families here at Albert Bridge are also welcome to be at our March 19th event for K through 8 as well.
All right, Kate.
Hi. Our state science fair is this Saturday at Norwich University in Northfield, Vermont. It starts at 9 o'clock. We're going to be represented by Grace Blanchard, Izzy Sicarelli, Wilson Ingwald, Audrey McFarland, and Jossie Wrightson. Catherine Ford will be taking them, and they usually report back good news, so we hope that's the case. Congrats to Ava Reed. She finished third in the state Poetry Out Loud competition. That's that picture here. She's the lovely person on the end. You guys talked about a little bit in the beginning, our winter sports are done thanks to our coaches. I included this picture down the bottom that kind of highlights what makes Windsor so special, and that's all the third and fourth grade girls who had won their tournament that morning, then all went up together to watch the girls game. It was a heartbreaker, but I saw a comment on the internet that said it was more exciting than the Super Bowl, and that was a pretty accurate statement. March intensives are coming up due to student requests. We have not local, in the country opportunities for travel. And Theo and Kristen will be taking a group to Boston. These next couple of things are on the stuff that are on the end of the agenda, but I had put them in here. We have a new hire. It's a familiar name, I think, to lots of you, and it's Windsor alum Ethan Hill, who's also, I believe, an ABS alum. He will be joining us in the fall to round out our high school math department. It was kind of a unanimous choice, and we're happy he's coming home. Last time we had talked about the ACTC bus and the calendar. I said I would look them over. The only day, and I know, Bill, we don't agree on this, the only day that Hartford would be in session, oh no, you turned the camera on for me, that Hartford would be in session in the afternoon, that Windsor wouldn't send a bus because we follow the homeschool calendar, is December 18th. I compared both calendars today, took all the notes. It is December 18th, a half day. We start our winter vacation. Hartford has a full day. We would typically excuse kids from Hartford. I'm going to give my Kate Ryan opinion as a human, which I know doesn't matter. But as our kids get older, we lose so much time with them. It's just monopolized by everything else. And if we could give this one gift of time to families that have kids across the district, I would do it. That being said, I know my role. If you direct me to do otherwise, I will send out the message that we expect them to be at Hartford and have the bus ready. I could also have the bus ready and make it optional for those who want to go, but just that is the only date of conflict. So just let me know and I will do it. Do we want to come back to this on the discussion points, or do we want to talk about it now?
Yeah, this is it's an agenda item later. So let's say, I appreciate you kind of throwing that out there now, and we can come back to it during our items for discussion.
Okay. The next thing would be the library. Tracy said, utilize Tara Custer. She's amazing. And that was an understatement. IT would set up a laptop with Alexandria in our high school hub. Katie or Dave would be trained to do it. Our goal, which I shared some pictures with Elizabeth when I saw her at the PTO meeting for next year, would, based on our budgets and our time that this was decided, would be a cart or two with new young adult fiction. We're going to have a student committee help pick them out. Destiny's helping me with getting the books. And on the back end, the largest amount of work would be getting those into the system. Tara told me that it's manageable and she can show me and I can get it done over the summer. We would need to make sure that all high school students have an account, which anyone that was in the district should in elementary school. So this seems like it's moving forward in the time frame and budget that we have, and I hope it'll be up and running. I know Liz says that she'll be happy to help. So I feel that that'll be here in the spring. That'll be there next school year. And then our walking track, we want to open from 10:30 to 11:30 because that's when there's no students and we just want to be safe. We kind of landed on, after some discussion, we have the volunteer enrollment form that people do when they're chaperoning a trip. So our plan would be to have people fill that out and then they would be permitted to use the walking track that have like a membership. And then you just call ahead or show up and let Lisa or Kristen know that they're here to use the track. I want to talk to Jim about where would be the best place to park. We can then talk about in the fall. I want to open it up at 7:30 to 8:30, but with drop off at that time, that just seems not feasible right now, but maybe something that we can look ahead to in the spring. I wanted to show one more picture on the side here. That's Zach Clark. For those that don't know, that is walking on the bleachers. And that picture made the Valley News because while he was waiting for his sister to finish up with basketball, he just grabbed the broom from the side and started sweeping up our student section. And those are the little things that I think should be noticed and highlighted. So if you see Zach Clark or his parents, let them know, job well done.
Thanks, Kate.
So you got to click. There's a couple. Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. All right. I'm up. Just a couple of things for me. Again, the game. It was a game of a lifetime. So I was looking at the picture today, and there's probably with that was pre-game, and the student section, which we have a fantastic student section, and they coordinate what they wear and themes all season long. It's pretty fun to watch them. But in the background, you see all of these people. And first I was like, oh, are those the student sections? Because they're red and green. but they're not. They're the adult section. So people came and in their school colors and cheered on the teams. But it was a great game, and congratulations to the team and the girls in Cabray for making it to the playoffs again and playing so well. The other picture on the left is one of our teachers, one of our second grade teachers, and I happened to stop into her classroom and got to observe her implementing Number Corner, which is a math short snippet in a day. You do Number Corner and it works on fluency. And Tracy Thompson had written a grant to get the materials for Windsor this last summer, and the materials came in and the teachers are implementing it. And we're seeing some great growth in their math. So Bridget is doing a grant amendment in the title grant so that each of the schools can get Number Corner supplies and implement it, which is pretty exciting. Yeah. And then there's some students. I happen to be in Destiny's classroom, and she had the plan for their PLPs and what they needed to be working on and putting in their PLPs to prepare for conferences. So that was exciting to see. The next 3 slides are just, they all are of our last PD day, which is March 2nd, I believe, which was a DEI focus. Tracy worked closely with Bridget and actually Jen Hulse, our Director of Student Support Services, and they came up with these 3 tracks. One of them was EQS, culturally responsive teaching. It was facilitated by the Clemens Family Farm. And we haven't debriefed yet, but in general, the feedback has been pretty positive. So teachers self-selected in which track they wanted to be in, and we plan to continue those tracks next year. So that was that one. The next one was UDL neuro inclusive work with Hannah Marco. She came. I got to spend some of the afternoon at that training, which was exceptional. And then the third was reflective restorative practices with Up for Learning, and the students that we've been working with, that leadership lighthouse team at the high school did some presenting, and they presented some of the cultured data that the survey that they created, they gained from those surveys and shared with staff. It was pretty great.
It was great.
Yeah.
And when Jen was talking about the kids at Albert Bridge sharing data with the younger kids and what they saw, it made me think about this presentation at the high school, because they presented data to the teachers about what students felt about school. Yeah. And it was a lot of great discussion, and the students did an amazing job as presenters.
Yeah, so I'm sure Tracy will give an update.
And they kept saying, I'm glad I took I'm glad to be here. It's okay that I'm giving up my day off on Monday. I'm glad to be here. This is fun.
They're a great group.
Yeah.
So just briefly, I don't know if you're paying attention. I'm paying attention, and really Act 73, there's still a lot of unknowns, and it's up in the air. I know that it's election time, and that's a consideration from what I've heard, and people making decisions or not at the legislative level. Maybe Elizabeth has more to share, but
yeah, I was gonna say it's a good moment to kind of segue.
Absolutely.
You're there, so
One thing is that for Act 73, they've been talking a lot about maps and the different pieces that are unlike other pieces, but there is no bill. And I think that's, at least on the House side, there is no bill. And I think that's kind of important to note, that this is our crossover week.
And we've got nothing.
And they don't have a bill. They do have a miscellaneous education bill, which they plan to get voted out this week. And that bill specifies that no school will have no school will be directed to close because of a class size issue. That the clock for that begins at the end of the next school year. Okay. And or when the State Board of Education completes implementation of the latest round of education quality standards, whichever comes first, but those things are all part of the education quality standards. So, and so that essentially the clock will start ticking on, the 3-year clock will start ticking, not this year, not next year, but the following year. And,
Can you clarify the 3-year clock until what?
so the 3-year clock is, a class has to be of a minimum class size for 3 consecutive years.
I just
So
want to make sure.
if a school has a class size that is under the minimum for 2 years, doesn't count. Or 1 year on, 1 year off, clock restarts again. It has to be 3 consecutive years. That doesn't start until June of 2027, according to this bill.
And I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So under this bill as well, it also says that you can't, once that 3-year clock starts going and is implemented, one of the recourses of failing to meet those conditions within 3 consecutive years is not that the school can close. Is that what I understand, or is that?
No, it can.
Okay.
If after the clock starts on June 1st, 2027, if then a school has 3 consecutive years of not meeting the class size minimum, then the State Board of Education may then recommend to the State Board of Education, Agency of Education, can then recommend to the State Board of Education that they take some action.
Okay. Which could include closure.
Yeah,
okay.
But it also it has an appeal process.
Sure.
And it has all these other things built into it.
I just wanted to clarify because earlier you had said something about it not being an option. So I wanted to make sure that I think you were saying it's not an option at the moment, but under the auspices of this, when it does kick in, it is including but not limited to.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
And the Act 73 stuff, there isn't actually anything to vote out this week. This is our policy bills crossover week.
Mm-hmm.
Next week is the money bills crossover week, except for the yield bill and the budget bill. This week, the House Ways and Means Committee is going to be discussing how they would like to handle the general fund surplus. And they may apply all of it towards a property tax buy down. They may apply some of it towards a property tax buy down. They may recognize that they've been doing this for the last several years and that maybe the funding formula needs to be changed. They may also put some of it towards a school construction fund. They have made no decisions about it as of this time, but they plan to discuss it this upcoming.
I heard there's talk of lowering the threshold and the penalty that you incur if you don't reach that spending for pupil threshold would be then put into a construction fund for schools. I don't know if you've heard
That's after Act 73 is implemented. So that was one of the things having to do with Act 73. It's not lowering the threshold. The state will set a set amount that will go with the student, no matter where they go, whether they're in a public or independent private school, whatever, that one rate for everybody. And district will have the option of, currently it says spending up to 10% over that. And over that, that was one of the things, was taking the overage from that and putting it into a school construction fund. But that is not currently real.
Okay.
It's just one of the ideas they can do. But now you know almost everything I know as far as that goes, but it's not the House Education Committee to watch. I don't know, they have a discussion scheduled for Wednesday afternoon for Act 73. They don't plan to take any action. It's really Senate Ed where all of the action is gonna. And they don't have a crossover deadline.
Very quick question before we move on. What, if anything, is being done to address the major cost drivers
The actual
that are
problem?
Yeah, the actual problem, because it's kind of a hodgepodge of things, but what we seem to come back to every single year is that healthcare is going to look this, special education costs are going to look this, and I have yet to see any sort of meaningful movement from Montpelier that actually addresses that.
Yeah, I don't see anything happening to healthcare this year. I don't. I think they are going to, this week, I looked at that healthcare committee agenda for this week, and they have a bill that they're discussing that addresses health insurance, but not healthcare per se. We have in our committee a bill that bill about the way that healthcare gets negotiated. As I mentioned before, I strongly object to it being overseen by the Agency of Education. I don't think that's a good idea. But it is not on our agenda for this week. So that's where that is. That's that one. Let's see, many bus drivers that go unaddressed.
It's, if you don't have it right here, that's fine. It's
There's
just, that's sort
also,
of the perennial thing.
Well, it's also IEPs or special education, and that is in part because of the federal government funding some of the cost back down to us. So we can't do anything about that. But I think that part of I believe that our cost will be lowered by the new BOCES, which they're changing the official name of.
Yes, that is the hope. Yeah, without increasing costs and efficiencies.
Always down for some positive outlooks. Liz, you have anything?
Yeah, quick question. Do you know if there's any talk about addressing the CHIP and TIP funds in the ed fund? And the reason I'm asking is because it came up at our town meeting when talking about the school budget. Got people in town really pretty riled up. So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, there is zero chance that they're going to change the TIP and CHIP drives on the ed fund or any. I don't know about the other drives on the education fund, but and the CHIP and TIP fund that we're talking about, the tax incremental finance districts for larger towns, and it's smaller. That's to create to fund town infrastructure. That its companion is CHIP, and I can't remember at the moment.
Community Heart in Place.
Sorry?
Community Heart in Place is the CHIP fund? No.
Nope. It's a infrastructure thing for smaller towns, and it's exactly like the tax increment finance district, and we fought really hard to not have them come out of the education fund because they don't belong in education. They were put in there because they have to do with real estate, and that's the connection between those two things. And they're both of those programs are 20-year loans, and so they prevent us from even looking, because they're 20-year loans with a return that's lower than that money would have cost, so to speak, had the money been borrowed by a bank, or borrowed from a bank. Because it's a 20-year commitment, it makes it even more difficult to look at changing the property tax structure away from the education financing, away from property taxes, because it's already a 20-year commitment. That being said, that doesn't mean that it's impossible. It's just that House Ways and Means Committee is absolutely not going to do it right now.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
And I'm
thank
just
you,
gonna
Elizabeth.
take it
Yep.
back to heroes, so I get information.
Well, some of you have seen this slide, but I just want to continue. Well, I knew Liz was new tonight. We've been pretty worried about some of our federal funding, but the news is turning out to be okay. So we're happy that we're not losing a lot of funds that we count on. So that's all for me. That's linked. Jennifer, you just have to click. And if that is what David wants, Davis, you're in charge again. That was the administrative report.
Okay, and can I ask a question about the IDEA?
Yes.
That's next on the agenda. Sorry. Are you worried about, as our superintendent, are you worried about the structure of IDEA grants once we have, or should we eventually have bigger districts?
I'm not sure. Let me talk to Jen Hulse about that, because she manages that grant. And
is that my understanding? One of the things that was really worrying, if you have a chance to look at some of the testimony that's come from Zoe Saunders regarding special education, one of the things that's very worrying is potential in the larger districts. That grants will be judged school by school.
Okay.
I can't remember whether it's, now I don't know whether it's IDEA or ESEA. I'll look it up, but
okay,
they'll be judged school by school. And if a school in a district does not adhere to the letter of the grant, then they have to pay back all of the money that's been taken.
That they used.
Yeah.
They monitor those grants pretty closely now. And I would imagine that if you're using the funds inappropriately, you would be on the hook to reimburse. But yeah. So
I just, it was one of the things that got flagged during the Zoe Saunders presentation to House Education.
Okay.
I can find that.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay. It was to House Ed?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, can you just click on that?
If I don't get it to you in the next 24 hours, just to me and know.
So this is where it says the student growth behavior report.
Okay. So we'll start off with Windsor School. Tracy, do you want to jump in?
Sure. If you want to go one more, you'll see our DIBELS data. I'm really happy with our DIBELS data. We, when we present this to you, we present you at or above and below the benchmark. What you never get to see is growth within a color band. And I'm very proud of this growth. We're showing 9 students that changed color bands, but I can tell you that the growth within the color bands is impressive as well. So there's a lot of great work happening. It's, anyway, I'm really proud of that data and the hard work the teachers are doing. It's a lot of growth. And I also just want to acknowledge the work that you don't see when we lump data together this way. So great news there. 3 through 10, boy, there's a range. It's still showing growth. There's a big range from 3rd graders through 10th graders. But again, our reading scores are moving in the positive direction. What I like, and I can only speak for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, is that we break these down in our ITL meetings when Amber Bennett meets with our teachers, and we look at specifically which grade levels and which students in which grade levels, and what skills do they need to try to cross these bands. So we get much more detailed in this presentation, and then we get much more detailed in our work than we give you in this presentation, just trying to maintain confidentiality of data. Again, this one is 3 through 5, which is we're still. I know why, and in my head, I know why it looks like we have an increase in students falling below the benchmark. I even know where it's targeted and what we're doing about it. So I think this is a good example of when I speak about being able to identify students, what they're missing, perhaps places where we need to be more targeted in our instruction, students that need some real direct instruction and skills that maybe weren't getting it, and they are getting it now. So I'm looking forward to presenting this spring data to you. I know also breaking down grade bands, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Some of these grade bands are individually, they're showing great progress. And then we have some work to do still.
I'm also really excited about the reading data for grades 6 through 8. This is showing from fall till winter, so this is just a few months apart. We have 9%-ish growth in our middle school, and using this data during our data dives is what the teachers are looking at to see like who's just below the benchmark, who's like super close to moving up to that next color to being proficient, and who is below in our lowest level. And when we look at the students in those below proficiency, how many of them have the services and plans already in place, and how many are being rotated through our intervention. So that's what we do with that data when we get it, and we're excited that we get to keep moving our students and working on those goals.
Despite the percentages being exactly the same, I did verify that this data is accurate, and looking at the list of students, it is a different combination of students in the winter.
Again, K through 12. I don't think there's there's growth. There's growth, and we'll take it. That's a large range of data to put together into one, but we'll take the growth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving this. I think this has so much to do with some of our initiatives. Number Corner being a huge component, what it brings out in students, the daily collection, the conversations, the reflections about math, and the way we're targeting instruction, and also the reviews, the circular reviews, the reviewing skills on a circular basis, coming back to what they've been taught. I think we're just headed in, and you can see we're making great progress in that. Same thing you're seeing in reading, you're seeing in math, and it a lot of the same reasons. We have certain classes that are not quite as on board with the Number Corner. They need some support for implementing, and we're working on that. Our coaches are helping make sure that we're implementing this spiral review and the Number Corner consistently 3 through 5. And it's not an easy program. It's taken some time, and it's some new learning for us, but we're committed to doing it right.
And again, we're happy with the growth from fall to winter in our 6th through 8 math. This was a definite push we saw last year when we had started the spiral review and our teachers all working together. That was a time where we were working with Miss Cindy here at Albert Bridge when we were all like looking at the math together, trying to have it so that we're all doing the same thing with our Eureka math. And the oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. And I was just gonna say, we are in that spot, Renelle, where the intervention and knowing that our math was a little bit lower than our ELA, it's why we really pushed into that tutoring and being able to get that money that Bridget shared with our schools to support the math. Go ahead, sorry.
We have comparative data for the fall math grade 9, 43% above the benchmark, 57 below. We have very few significant below. This is partially the affected intervention spiral view at middle school, which continues on to high school. Between the fall and winter terms, it's a shift of 2 students. As you know, our math department was shaken up early in the year last year, which has impact this year. I don't know why I said last year because it feels like a lifetime ago. And that did impact our ability to do intervention, but second semester is looking better as we're back in a mode where people have normal schedules again.
Okay. And I think this is a place where we haven't shown growth in looking at our free and reduced lunch and students that are eligible for that, and we are showing growth here.
If you kind of look at this closely, we shrunk the gap here from almost a 10% difference between the 2 groups to a 5% difference. So we kind of cut it in half there. The bad news is we remain stagnant at the non-free and reduced, but we did make kind of growth in the free and reduced. Similarly with the math, the achievement gap between the 2 groups is quite small in math, partially due, as we know, we're struggling with math. That is our area of improvement. We're working hard on it. The gap also did narrow though to just a 1% difference, but it's because both groups need significant improvement. But we are making it there. And like Tracy said, it's hard to see the growth within the color bands when this is all we're presenting.
It's also nice to see that our tutors in math are across all grade levels. So students can kind of move to like where there's a good comfort level for them and the teacher for the different grade levels from elementary through high school. This a certain grade level?
I think this is across the board.
Across the whole school. When we look at the, again, the data dive, we make sure we're looking at our students who already have their services, and though our specialist teachers are supporting our students with new goals all the time and updating student plans, IEPs, success plans, whatever it is, but we're happy to take the growth here.
I think this is a nice time to, I have said to Christine many times, I'm really thankful for our leadership with Jen Hulse. I think that she deserves a kudos for this data improving and also for our behavior data improvement. She's just been such a support and great team member.
Yeah, so these are VT caps, and you read it takes a minute to get used to looking at this data. It took me a minute to realize that the blue bar you're looking at is the Windsor data, and then the red is the state, and you see grade levels across the bottom. So there are many places that our ELA is falling below the state average.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mhm.
But
And we
the
have to
bright
address
spots,
that. Yeah.
the bright spot are, I mean, third grade is like a critical,
Yes.
critical point there. But the bright spot is as a student gets older, you know, if you look at sixth grade and ninth grade, we're outperforming the state averages.
Yeah. How do you account for that much growth between third and fourth grade?
You know, I think third to fourth grade is where you start putting into action the skills that you've been taught, right? The reading skills you need to put reading into action. And I think students start doing a lot more independent reading. They start doing a lot more reading of literature, so they have more opportunities to start putting into action all the skills that they've been trying to piece together as a young learning reader. And you'll see it in our other data as well, that our middle school and high school students really start to excel at reading and doing it well. You know, sometimes it just takes time for things to settle in for kids too.
And this is a snapshot from 24, 25 school year.
Cohorts.
So
We're looking at cohort effects as well.
yeah, I was going to say this is in one cohort. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note that often when we think about being able to identify kids and skill gaps, we often can see something around kindergarten, first grade, because they come in super low. And in that first kindergarten year, we're not able to kind of shore up that. Third grade is that next big year where we start to identify a lot of kids, because it is that year that you should be able to make that shift in your reading skills. And even our math requires a ton of reading and writing across in our own curricula as well as at the state level. So third grade is a place that we also then start identifying kids again for intervention needs, and that often will show up like year after year in that way.
It's also the first time they take this test in third grade. So,
yep.
And there is some stamina required to complete that test.
Taking this a skill.
Yeah, so that may play into it, but certainly something that we're wondering about, questioning, thinking about.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying about third grade being the year, but wouldn't that be true all across the state? I'm just wondering if there's, any reasons you may have identified why, students at Windsor are having a harder time in fifth grade. Are those interventions happening earlier in other schools, or is there some kind, something else? Is it a socioeconomic issue? Like, is there something else happening that you can think of it?
Another important thing to look at is how in depth is your test prep. Are all the teachers doing the practice tests? Are all the teachers doing the tool section? It's getting students familiar with how the test works and what the expectations are.
Yes.
As compared to other schools. So that's one of the large components of third grade, because this is a brand new experience for them.
I'll just ask too, because I know we're seeing one third grade cohort, but is this something that's a perennial thing that we see in our data, or is it more pronounced in this particular set?
I think I'd have to look at it over a few years. I can't speak to a few years of VTCAP data for the particular third grade, but it's a good question to ask. I can certainly dig into that.
Yeah, I think looking towards how we are preparing our third grade students for that would worth take a look at that trend.
I can do that.
Very good.
And I might be wrong, but has the third grade teachers, there's been a little more turnover in that grade?
No, not for a couple of years.
Okay.
And we've only had VTCAP for, I believe this is the second year of VTCAP.
Okay.
Third year, Bill? Third year. Although SBAC was essentially the same as well, and yeah.
I know that when we talk about the testing, especially like for the math, one of the biggest concerns for the teachers is like making sure our students who struggle with their reading and writing when they're doing a lot of the reading in the math testing. Like, are all their accommodations appropriate for the math testing? Because they don't want that to affect the math.
And I'll just say, we just got this data from last year. So, I know that there's hope that we will get the data earlier so that we can actually respond to it sooner.
Yes.
But this just came in, and Bridget just created this these slides in this presentation. So we've had it for a couple of days, but haven't really had time to discuss as a team.
Sure. Bill, do you have something else to?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify Tracy's question is that the data she's showing us is the second year. This is the third year.
Yes.
Yeah.
This year, so.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
So these students, the students from that would be in fourth grade now.
Correct.
So I'd be curious to see next year if the data
Yeah,
has
how they
a
do.
drop in the fourth grade.
Yes.
Or
Yep.
third grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
We only do the VCAP science in 5th, 8th, and 11th grades.
So attendance data, I think for Windsor, the addition of the attendance support has really made a difference. One caveat with us for tardies is that elementary schools take attendance once a day. Students often are not getting themselves to school. So are they tardy? I'm not sure. They are late for school, but we've been having really good communication with families when students are tardy. We have it narrowed down to a very small list of students that we're talking with and families we're talking with about truancy. We meet with Kieran Zito twice a month and regularly work with Kristen and Amber Bennett to sort out families that we need to be in touch with. And overall, I'm happy with student attendance.
So for middle school and high school attendance, like Tracy just said, they take attendance once a day. So for middle school and high school students, it would be 7 times as much the tardies per period. So that's one difference. For the middle school, we also have students who might not be getting to school on time. That is not the students' issue. We work with parents. We're really lucky to have the engagement coaches reach out early to talk to parents about that. But just to note that an unexcused tardy can be anywhere from like 3 minutes of a tardy to a whole class period. And then, there's a wide variety. And so in the middle school, I'd say about of what that tardy unexcused represents is about 24% of the students. And there's some of the repeat tardy issues. So those are handled with our truancy team and all the things we can do to support kids to be in school and trying to do more culture and engagement. And let's be here for a celebration with our team for those kinds of things to get better.
High school's similar to middle school. We're seeing 7 times a day. The majority of ours are first period. And just for clarification, first period starts at 7:55. So you are marked tardy at 7:56. So Lisa, will you just send me a list of tardies for the day? And usually like the first third are 7:56, 7:57, 7:58. They're all within minutes of the day.
Yeah, so here's our logs per day. These are major incidents, that we're reporting to you, major behavior instances, and we're really on to something. The SEI team that we have put together in the middle school, working in collaboration with Maureen Mulligan, have really just transformed behavior at the elementary school, and they are exceptional in their work. They are an amazingly collaborative and supportive team to everyone, and all the teachers feel it, and I feel it, and I'm just really, really, really proud of this data. There's a lot of hard work that went into it, and my 3 SEIs, Callista Boudreau and Anna Schneller and Leah Mays, working with Maureen Mulligan and all the teachers. The biggest improvement has been parent communication, getting students out, getting teachers to communicate with families when they're minor instances. The 1.3s that we get now are often minor, what would be considered a minor behavior that has happened so often now that we call it a major. So this does not mean that one time a day we're having a major incident at school. Remember, a lot of our minors, if they were repetitive, they became a major. And that's what these often are just repeated minor behaviors.
So in the middle school, we are happy to see the average logs going down. We are also new this year to having SEIs in the middle school and having that support. And that is making a difference because the teachers are getting to look at the data monthly to support changes. And again, when we have about 10 to 15% of some of these behavior logs, they are sometimes repeat offenders. And when they grow in middle school and they're learning from their mistakes, the numbers are coming down.
High school, we see an increase there in February. I was super pleased to come back from winter break, and it was March already, but that last week, Tracy can attest to this. I understood that last week of school why we typically had that week off. People were struggling. Same thing, it's a repeated behaviors. I think also that we spent a lot of time this summer, and I meet with Tracy Price every week, and we've just been really consistent in responses to behaviors because of all that work that we did put in. So things that in a past year maybe wouldn't have been logged as a major, maybe would have been put in as a learning opportunity and education, are now in there. We also lost our, I can't think of, planning room person, and haven't replaced them yet. They took on a large portion of following up on cell phones. Cell phones are still killing us. It feels like an unwinnable battle. Nobody really wants to fight it, right? People want to teach, they want to do what they want to do. Parents don't argue with their kids at home about their cell phones. In lots of cases, it is a true addiction. We did have someone do their science fair project on effects of them. So I'm hoping that we come out strong with what our responses are to the bell-to-bell, no phones in school next year.
I'll just note too, I mean, I see there's a tick up there, but I think it's notable that all of the high school incidence data is hovering around like below 2.5. So yes, small variations that look a little bigger.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Oh yeah.
I'm just new to this. So this data is collected, I mean, it's relying on teachers and administrators to actually log the instances.
Yep. Staff members all log instances. If they're first one who was at the scene, they should be the person who logs it in, unless there's another agreement with somebody else to do that work.
Okay. So could you someone speak to how, we know that they're being logged when they're supposed to be logged? Just, having had some experiences with things not being logged.
I'll speak to that a little bit. What you're looking at are major instances, major incidents. So they're incidents that have required administrative attention, right? So and being major, we probably know they've happened, right? So we know they've been logged. The minors are not reported out in this report, which might be, you know, on my end, might be friendship issues or things like that. I do think we've all worked hard with our staff from the very beginning of the year when we rolled out the behavior matrix. We worked really hard to share that with them and the expectation for logging. We've spent a lot of time this year also cleaning up the logging process, right? As we've gone through, we've found places where maybe we didn't have just the right wording or just the right situation and how we were going to log it for consistency. And so we've been working our way through the year with our staff, with ourselves, learning this system to be able to know that, you know, these reports are accurate. And then again, that communication, making sure that whether it's a minor or a major communication comes home to families from the teachers. Major communication comes from administration. I feel very confident on the elementary end that I have accurate logs coming into me now, but it has taken some time to get there, Liz. That's sure. We've had some bumps and some learning curves earlier in the year, but at this point, I feel confident in the logging process.
But it's only as good as the staff inputting, and it's not a perfect system.
Yeah, just wondering how often this is, you know, this training through the
Revisited.
I guess in each of the schools.
Yeah, I mean, it's revisited every time we do a data dive, a behavior data dive. I mean, they get this data. It's not every month, but it's about every 5 to 6 weeks, and they're looking at it.
For staff, you mean?
Yes. They can see who's logged behaviors and who hasn't. I mean, that's a piece we can run. It shows staff, you know, staff members who are doing, I can't say consistently, but there are some staff members that are certainly better or do it more than others. I don't know if that means things are being missed or those teachers are just experiencing more behaviors, but I would say it's not perfect, but it's definitely a work in progress, and we're doing better than we have in the past for sure, or overall.
Yep.
But
This is the first year this was implemented.
To
We
this,
had a
to this
version
level,
in
yeah,
the past,
for sure.
so this is much cleaner and much clearer for everybody who does what.
Yeah, this particular data presentation is newer, and then this is the first school year under the new behavior matrix and those algorithms for addressing behavior. So I, you know, like anything, the trend, I'd be interested in looking when we're about 2 years out on it or 3 years out, seeing like what that looks like.
Yeah.
But I also hope we're continuously improving.
And the behavior matrix is something that is shared with the students. Definitely at the beginning of the year, we redo it in January. And we do ask for students to be a part of that conversation. And we did. It was like really the first time they got to be a part of it last year. And they got to see a draft of it and give feedback. And I think the more we have discussions with students, more students are interested in having feedback to the behavior matrix.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it's reiterated in January. I didn't know that, but
Yes.
I saw the beginning of the year ones, I think, for high school and middle school. I wasn't implemented to grade school. Or is that ABS? Yeah.
But then one of the examples that Kate gave was like the cell phones, like that's something that the staff can see in the data dive, and then they make an action plan of like, well, what are we going to do in the next 6 weeks to work on this? And so it's not easy. People don't want to police it, but it is something that we just consistently try to reach out to the parents and partner with them to be like, we've reached our third offense and we want to make a permanent plan for it to be at home or locked up in a way because it's not working in the ways we've offered at school.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is it an incident, like one incident can involve many students? So, okay.
It's logged
So
as different.
this is logged by incident, not necessarily by.
It only has one student
It's by
name per incident.
It's by a student.
So
Yeah.
if 4 kids were involved in one incident, you'd have 4 separate reports.
They can be linked together.
Okay.
Then I'm sorry, I have one
That's
more
okay.
question.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm new to this. Does this include HHB data or is that separate?
It should be logged in the NBED.
What's NBED?
The
The behavior report
Yeah.
system.
It should be logged, but then follow-up comes from an administrator who should go back in after to record whether it was opened, right? Or not, and then we do keep a separate, spreadsheet of all HHV, potential and, incidents that are opened. If that makes sense. So the staff members should be filling out a student conduct form. They are also asked to fill out the MBA with the information from that student conduct form, which then triggers the administrator to determine whether or not there's enough belief that it could be HHP to open it, and then they document it using the appropriate forms. So yeah, it should be in both.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Yeah, at 11 o'clock, right? Here we go. Lots of transitions, beginning of lunch. A lot of reasons that 11 o'clock is the time of day for the elementary school. And we adjust supervision to try to meet those things.
2 a.m.
Yeah, those are just liars.
Those are old logs. Yeah. I have a feeling
Thought it
that
was
should be
supposed
2 p.m.
They got a little bit of that going on.
I would say middle school and high school lunches are about an hour apart. I would say late morning is where we see more of the items in that 11 o'clock hour. It's also the class period where everybody is in their fourth period academic class and nobody is in an elective or in a special. So there's sometimes it's like that moment to like have that relaxing class, that PE, that health, that art class. There's none of that in fourth period.
What is the number in the high school 2 p.m.? I can't remember.
Let me see if I can.
46.
It's like 46.
It's people walking out of class because the bell rings at 2:40. It's people walking out at 2:35.
And then, yeah, our, playgrounds and the classroom, right? Most of our incidents in the classroom are disrespect or disruption, those common minor disruption problems that have been repeated and become major. So those are the classrooms, and then the playground is playground things, right? Like what happens with younger students. What I'm most happy about on this is our decrease in, I guess this is the locations one. I'll tell you that on the next slide when we get to incidents by type.
Yeah, these numbers are the whole year so far. So the last slide was the decrease in logs, but this is adding up the whole year. So again, for us, it's mostly true.
Are these full numbers of events?
These are incidences, yes.
So sometimes they're just FYIs, like something will happen in a teacher's class, they call home, they talk to the parents, and they're just logging it because we don't have the luxury of knowing if this happened in second period, that then it also happened in fifth period. So the teachers are just logging as an FYI so that I can have my eyes on it and see if it's a pattern of behavior across classes and things like that.
Is field recess?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, yep, that would be, there's not a recess one up there.
There's a playground one.
Playground or field.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
would,
but
they would rate
have
field
recess on
mostly,
field.
yeah.
So this is the one that I'm pleased. There's the disrespect and disruption I was talking about. What I'm happy about on this is the fighting or the decrease in physical interactions between students is something that we really have been taking a firm stand on, and we're seeing the students know that there's a line there when they're physical with each other. So pleased with the change there. We did discover that where it says no subtype, we did a little digging, asked Bridget about what no subtype means. It means that somewhere on 156 entries, one component was missing something. So it really is not an important piece of data other than something was missing on that particular incident report.
So for middle school, this was the trend at the beginning of the year that most of the items were defiance, disrespect, disruption, in the majority in the classroom.
We're still working on cleaning up the high school power school because not everyone reports things the same way. So there's cutting class, and then there's also leaving without permission. Those sometimes are the same thing. The cell phones, because we had someone, we had that position, which we're hoping to fill again. We were just doing them as a spreadsheet, and then that person was going back in and filling them in here. The language, including slurs, I'm embarrassed to say that was probably our largest cause of suspension this year. But it was consistent every single time and right from the start. So that part feels good. I'm going to say it probably happened in other years, but it wasn't logged or consistently addressed. So that's the good part, that it's there, but it's just hard that we're still addressing that. At least once or twice a month, something like that happens. And it's not always someone who's, going after someone. It's someone casually, just addressing their friend in a way that they think is appropriate among friends. And we're trying to drive home the lesson that it's not.
And I know that when we looked at this data, like in the fall, like in the first data dive on behavior, and I would say it's pretty similar in the follow-ups, that you're looking at about 10 to 15 students who have the repeat behaviors. And as the year goes on, those repeat offenders seem to have less totaling, but in the beginning of the year, that's where the repeat offenders seem to be higher at the beginning of the year.
All right, so thank you guys. I know like you guys have to sit through 4 of us talking, whereas the other boards sit through 1 lead learner. So just bear with us. I'll try and walk through this fairly quickly. So K through 3 dibbles. We've had some significant increase. I'm gonna go back. Small school, small numbers, any change can look very large, and it can be 1 student. But we've had some significant increase in student capacity due to the work that is being done, particularly in the K through 3 in relationship to reading. So this specifically speaks to work that's specifically done through the Orrin Gillingham approach that is really high intense, working with a couple of students, and you see the growth there. So our star reading, this is what we're looking at here. Small numbers again, like I don't even know if that's effectively 1 person. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure how that works, because number wise, it doesn't seem to add to 1 person in our schools in those numbers. So star math, we're looking at, we saw a decrease fall to winter. That I can tell you is, somebody on the cusp, right? Just kind of flipping from one to another. Math, again, just kind of cusp work right there. It's hard to talk about numbers in a generalized way. As Colleen talked about and Tracy talked about, we're really talking about the granular level. Did this student grow? And so what we want to look at is, no matter where you start, did you grow at least at the expectation of somebody at that age group, right? So did you grow for those 4 months average to other kids of the same 4 months across the board? And if you're struggling, did you grow more because you're getting extra intervention? That's what we're trying to look at. And we are seeing positive impact there.
And our curriculum director will always remind us that we're looking at students getting more higher skilled questions as they're going on in the year too.
Yeah, that is true. So there's our math decrease from fall to winter. We just got this data a few weeks ago. And so diving into it, just being able to look at where kids were, one of the things I was really excited about, it was being able to meet with certain kids who, whether they showed up on the red, the yellow, the green, or the blue, right, whatever they showed up in there, to be able to pull them aside and say, hey, right now you just showed that you grew not 4 months worth, but you just grew twice as much. You grew in an 8-month value, no matter what this other score is, that it says, look at the incredible work that you've done, whatever you're doing, keep it up. So STAR demographics, our free and reduced lunch, across the board, we're still trying to figure out what to do to help our students who are in the lower socioeconomic categories. We know it impacts their ability to show up. We also know we're doing a ton of work around trauma-informed and making sure kids are fed well with our very robust food program that every student gets, regardless of whether or not they show up on free and reduced lunch. But we're still not meeting their needs at the same level. We're able to support those kids who are coming here with a lot more resources. And that is absolutely one of the biggest equity issues we are facing in education across our country. So math, same thing, eligibility, so significant drop there in percentage-wise, but if we think about the quantity of numbers, we're talking about somebody struggling at that level, right? Our IEPs right now, as I mentioned, meeting with some of the kids who I saw like 8 months worth of growth, over a year's worth of growth. I saw one kid grow 2 years, they're still in red. It didn't show up 2 years worth in 4 months, and it still shows up red for that kid. But we can celebrate what an incredible amount of work that they are doing and the growth that is happening. If they keep on that trajectory, it will get them to the next spot. Math is a little less intense because reading tends to be the biggest challenge for our students. And while a lot of math is reading and writing, it's not as intense as the literacy component. For the Mott BT caps, I took the data and because I can't show you by cohort and identify the cohort because it's identifiable. What I did was I took a cohort and I put it into a comparison here. So these two are not the same cohort necessarily as those two. I tried to mix it up to confuse everybody. So in math, we had, in our math, we were 56 above benchmark in this one grade band, and 36 was the state average. In this one, 11 was above benchmark, and 34 was the state average. 31 in this other grade band for the ABS benchmark, and then state was at 33, and in this additional grade band, the fourth one listed, 75 were above benchmark and 48 was the state average. ELA, same thing, 67 to 61, so we're fairly close there. 67 to 55, a little bit above in that specific grade band. 38 to 48, a bit below. 75 to 48, a bit above. And then the science is 56 at the ABS level to 44. All right, and then behavior and attendance. See what I did here. So we're at 96%. Again, most of the tardy is, we're talking about a lot that parents are navigating to start the day. And if they're able to get their kids here at all, sometimes that's the best they can do. So we also work with Kieran. He meets with us once a month, but really rely on our relationships between myself, our nurse, and our classroom teachers and our administrative assistant, Wendy, all pitch in, identifying the families that we have the best connection with to try and figure out what's getting in the way and help support. And that can show up like one of our families didn't have a car, so we would go and pick them up. So whatever we need to do to help get our kids here, we get them here. All right, so over the time we've had we're hovering around one incident a day still. One of the things we talked about, Christina talked about this morning, was that we're not talking about a large group, right? We're talking about a few kids who their gap between where the skills are typically for a kid and where they are at this time for that child are just extreme, and they're setting the stage for a few kids having a lot of big challenges. And we look at those as an individual kid need. We don't see that as a school-wide need for changing a lot of stuff, except, hey, look at that. That's recess and lunchtime. So we do know, particularly kids who struggle and have high trauma responses, lack of predictability creates more anxiety, and that can happen when you have less structure, which is recess and lunchtime. So we are working to provide more structures and seeing if that helps, providing a few extra adults when we're able to monitor and support is also another thing that we're doing to try and support those kids. But you can also tell, like, as the day goes on, like we have a name for this hour between 1 and 2 o'clock. I'm not sure what it is, but we have a couple of kids that just really are done. They're just spent from trying to hold it together all day. Most of the events are occurring in the classroom because that's where kids are most of the time. Field is recess for the older kids. Playground is recess for the younger kids. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. Hallway, which is an interesting one. This is often when kids are transitioning from one place to another. And again, lack of predictability and movement of bodies leads some kids to not feel comfortable when other bodies are moving close to them, particularly at the younger grades. So subtypes, disruptions, the biggest one. Disrespect, we talk about what disrespect is and how it looks different for different people. So it's not necessarily logged the same way, because defiance could be viewed as disrespect by one person. So we have conversations as a staff about what that looks like in our small teams. And then is that it? All right.
What's can you just describe, because the second highest data point there that isn't a subtype is unwanted aggressive?
So this could be physical contact of, so two friends might get together and pat each other like on the back and even a little hard, and you'd say that as friends. Another kid might feel that and say, did not want that. So that's unwanted, kind of aggressive behavior that, yeah. So it can also be just the category of aggressive behavior towards somebody. So it could be throwing of something in the classroom, whether it's towards somebody or not. Yeah. All right. So that is the data review. Nice.
Thank you. I know that was a lot to get through, but it's important to get through it. I appreciate all the input and interventions. Okay, so we have made it to 6, which is items for discussion, followed by motions if needed. And I think 3 out of 4 of these we have already gone over in part during the administrative report. So library. Kate, do you mind just reiterating what you had said about like the library update, and then we can discuss that?
After talking further last time, it seemed that the want was for kids to be able to check out young adult nonfiction. Visited a couple schools, took pictures of what theirs look like. We're talked to Tara here. We have the systems in place to make this happen. We just need to get the books. We're going to rely on kids to pick them out. And we anticipate growing that collection starting this fall and then adding to it as the years go on.
Okay, thanks, Kate. Any questions, comments, input on that?
Yeah, did you say young adult nonfiction?
I might have, but that's what I meant. It's 9:30. I don't know if that's what I said, but I meant fiction.
Makes sense. Did you say earlier that you plan to log all these, like, catalog these books yourself?
Yeah, over the summer. Tara said she would help me, but when I had kids that were 3 and 4, I did not enjoy working over the summer. Now I love it. And I don't want to ask that of her, but she said that she would probably be willing to work a couple days, obviously paid, to help. But I also think I'm highly capable of learning that, and I can do it.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And if you need help, I did that with my library. It was a lot of work. Logging an entire collection. So
yeah, you might regret saying that to me, but I'm glad these moved. But I will definitely let you know if I do.
This is Amy. I could also help.
Great. I appreciate that. Seriously.
Well, yeah, thanks to our two, resident librarians here for offering that skill set there. Any other questions, comments, input about the library update? Yeah, I'll just say I appreciate that some motion has been made on this relatively quickly. I think it is important for students to have access to, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, just some physical media to get to. So I'll be interested to hear more about this as it gets implemented next year. But I appreciate the work that you put into this, Kate, and that Tara has as well. All right, I think we can move on to 6B, which is new hire. I think we heard a little bit about that earlier too. We've heard about these earlier.
Yep.
Yep.
Kate, you want to say anything else about Ethan?
No, it was
Inhale?
great. I mean, people just got really excited when they saw his name. He's just like what I loved most about the interview was his answer. But I don't think we asked him a question. I think he was just so enthused about math, right? And he played football here and also was the head of the Dungeons and Dragons Club. So like he connects to a lot of people. But what he was talking about that excited me was pathways. Like he says there's kids that are like, God, no, I'm not taking this math. I'm not going to college. I'm not going to do that. And he's like, but there's a pathway for them, like in finances, if you're going to run those business, like those are the classes, those are the kids I want to bring in and show them what math they need. And that sounded like music to my ears. So I hope you all meet him soon. He is moving back here to take this job. And where did he go? He went all the way up north, Newport.
Yeah, he's way up north.
Not only is he an athlete and Dungeons and Dragons, he was also a theater star.
Mm.
Right. I was going to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm friends of people, and actually I know his older siblings a little bit better, so closer to my age. But yeah, he's a fantastic guy, and I'm really happy that he's coming back to teach here. Do we need to approve this one? I'm assuming? Yeah. All right. Well, I will take a motion to approve the hire of Ethan Hill.
So moved.
All right. Elizabeth,
Second.
Liz. Oh, yeah, we're all good. Elizabeth and Liz got it. Thank you, though. Any discussion? All right. Hearing none, I will go around the room for a vote. Liz?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Phil?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well, so we approve that hire. Psyched to have him on board. And yeah, glad he's back in town. All right. 6C HACTC bus. Kate, if you can just refresh us from your update earlier in the meeting.
Yep. So quickly, the backstory is when you attend HACTC, what is that crumpling? You typically follow your homeschool schedule, and there's lots of reasons for that about belonging and consistent schedule among siblings. And then at some point we started doing the half day in services, but we met with HACTC, and what we landed on is that when it's an in service and students are not in school at Windsor, they will still attend HACTC. And that will be the expectation. It will not be excused. The buses will run. But if it is a day off for a holiday or a vacation, but the teachers are also, it's not an in-service, basically, that those students would also be granted an excused absence from HACTC. It happens one time it happened one time this year, happens one time next year. And it is the day on the 18th, which is the day before winter break. Windsor has a half day dismissal, and HACTC has a full day. So the afternoon juniors essentially would not be expected to go there that day. And I just need a decision on that, how you want to move forward.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the
You can chime in.
progenitor probably of this more than anyone else, because this was part of a much larger discussion a few years ago. I think one issue that I have is the fact that these students made a commitment, and the 18th, and this is my own, stuck in my craw, the fact that we have a half day so that the teaching staff can have a holiday party. So that was not something that I was particularly pleased about during negotiations, but I didn't die on that sword. I may next time. So, in the simple fact that I think Kate mentioned the fact that giving students time with their family, which is a legitimate reason. At the same time, these are 11th and 12th graders, and to think that they're actually going to be spending time with their family.
Bill,
Probably most of the excuse me.
Excuse me. I'm
Excuse
dying.
me.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Thank you. To dive in that point, I think it'd be good if we actually had hard data for that, but I don't think we do. But that's my pitch, and however the vote goes, I'm fine with it.
Can I just say one other thing, and that is, do you know whether we will have a statewide calendar by, I believe we'll have a statewide calendar.
Not for next year, the following year, potentially.
Yeah.
So,
Potentially only 1 year.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I say we give them a break.
So it sounds like, and I'm just revisiting what I heard earlier in the meeting, it sounds like there's 3 options, right? There's the bus doesn't run on that half day. The bus runs on that half day and it's an option, and the bus runs on that half day and it's mandatory.
yeah, those are the 3. Yeah.
Okay.
So I say we give them that.
Yeah, me
What
too.
if, oh, okay, I was saying, what do the kids, if they don't go, what do they do during the day if that's where they usually, for the half day?
Jim?
They're in school in the morning. They're in the afternoon
Oh,
program.
it's just the
It's
afternoon
because it's the
program.
afternoon.
Oh,
The
okay,
school
sorry.
is off. All right, so I will take a motion to go with the second option, which is to have the buses run and give the students the option to attend the HACTC or not.
So
All right, any further discussion or any discussion on that particular option?
Yes, this is Amy, and my 11th grader and 12th grader, when they were those grades, they would have been with their family.
lucky
We
you.
have different perspectives. Bill, you said, for the party, like I have to produce Christmas for 4 children, and I am dying for that time. I always get made fun of because I don't show up at the party, but I don't know.
Yeah, all I know is I would have been shoveling manure, so I really don't care.
A gift of time is the best thing you can give people. We are overscheduled, all of us.
All right, any further discussion? We ready for a vote?
Yeah.
All right, Liz, how do you vote?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And I am an aye. So buses run, students can go if they would like to. Excellent. And last but not least, walking track. This one I think the simplest of all of them. I remember we're talking about having walking track available to members of the community from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. I assume the AM part because the PM wouldn't make any sense. So 10:30, 11:30 a.m. and we would be using the same protocols that we use for volunteers. So they've just had to fill out a form, get fingerprinted, and checked into the building to use the walking track as a community resource today.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Wait, who's the?
Community members who want to come in and use the track who don't go
During
to
school
our
hours.
school during school hours while the kids are there.
So same protocol that if you're a volunteer that's coming in and you're, you know, it's like a little bit more of it's a little bit more of a high watermark than just if you're a visitor.
Not something we would do if we had a guest speaker and the adult is standing with staff during a class. This is somebody who's going to be in the building unattended
Inside the building?
on the inside track, which is right next to the back door where the attendance secretary is. Right across from the theater, right across from that door is the upper track.
It was, to my understanding, used that way prior to COVID. And
It was used that way for many years when the school first was built.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm so confused about what this is.
So
Going for walk for exercise, the elderly might come in and want to go for a walk outside, not be outside in the winter.
Basically, they would have to sign up.
Yeah. I can say anecdotally, like when I was in middle school there, it was common for like older members of the community. And I don't think there was a specific kind of day that. So yeah.
No, I think they signed in and came.
Yeah, but it was pretty common. So we're just trying to find a time.
I think
But
it's become popular at the rec.
Yep.
And they're trying to get back to the walking track.
They need to be vetted. Anybody in the school needs to be.
Yep.
Safe person in our school.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the 2026 version. So I will take a motion to approve the plan to allow community members with volunteer vetting to use the walking track for recreational purposes from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m.
So,
All right. Any further discussion?
I just have one thing to say, and that is that I think it would be really good to put this and on.
Yep. Makes sense. Anything else? All right. Hearing none, I will do a roll call vote. Starting with Liz. How do you vote?
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
Amy.
Hi.
Bill.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. So we have approved that. My mother is one person who likes the walking tracks. I'm sure she will be very happy to find out about this.
Nice.
I'll let her know. All right, we made it to item 7, setting the next agenda.
All right. We have the administrative report with financials, the quarterly financials next month.
Mhm.
We have on the docket the presentation, student presentation of learning at the middle school level.
Yep.
I'm following up on the.
Yes. Yeah, that.
Anything else that you can think of?
Okay. Well,
I know. Okay, Bill?
all right.
We're gonna be a late month.
And I thought that today.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't.
All right. So that's the kind of the regular stuff. Then we can follow up.
Yep.
Anything else? Okay. And last but not least, adjournment. I will take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
That was a long one.
All right.
Sometimes it's good. All right.
It is.
No, don't even, you know, you did great.